Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Thank you so much for joining my co host Mary and I for another Spiritual Learning Thursday. Every Thursday, we go over a different topic. After we play the video on the topic, we'll take any questions that anyone has and we'll try to answer them the best that we can. If you have any ideas on what you would like to learn about in the next upcoming videos, please leave a comment. We will be with you shortly. If you would be so kind as to take this time to give a like and share out the video, it would be greatly appreciated. Sit back, enjoy the show. Thank you so much again for coming. Hey everyone, how are you guys? I hope everyone's well. I'm just gonna set up the other camera so we can play the video. Today we're going to learn about the Druids and what their spiritual beliefs are. So thank you everybody for coming in. Mary's son is in the hospital, so prayers for him. So she won't be joining us up on panels. She might be in the chat if she can. So welcome in everybody. Thanks for joining. Let's see if I can, like I said, get this up on the other phone. There we go. I hope everybody's well. Is this again like yesterday? This chat is so far behind. Because I don't see anybody chatting, but there's 5 of you here, so welcome in. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Joe. Sorry, I do have a smoke here, so I'll turn you a little more this way. You can see all the mess I have back there. But anyway, I'm here. I don't think I have any like, pictures here. Like I'm gonna have to put some. No, I have like some pretty spooky stuff, but I don't have like a picture to put like smoking. Be right back. I'll have to find one. I'll have to find one. Aye. Sorry, you'll hear the notifications because unfortunately, I don't know how to turn off the notifications on this old ass phone with still being able to hear the YouTube. I'm sure there's a way, but you know. I could turn off the ring and leave the media, but I still think the media will ring. Hi, James. Welcome in. Oh, the chat stopped working. That happens sometimes too. Welcome in, James. Welcome in, everybody. Hello to the lurkers. Thanks for coming in. Today we're going to learn about the Druids. We'll wait just a few more seconds and then I'll play the video. I may have a special guest on today to talk with us. We'll see. It was like last minute because poor Mary, her son went into the hospital, so I wasn't prepared. So you know how that goes. But other than that, I hope everybody's well. Thank you guys. What a lovely Wednesday we had. Oh, there we go. What a lovely Wednesday we had yesterday. So if you guys are praying people, there's a lot of people that need prayers. Poor Christine, her daughter's in the hospital. She came in yesterday. Mary's son's in the hospital. Poor Misty's mom is sick. Poor Sherry's sis just lost her mom. So yeah, so we have a lot of prayers going out to everybody. And thank you, Danny, for sharing my YouTube video. um, so. Alrighty. I don't know. Thursdays have been rough lately. Yeah, all that needed. I should have shared out the video, but I didn't. I should share. I was a little late, but not really that late. Like I always go between 6 and 6:30. So, but I don't see like, a super amount of people, but that's how it is sometimes. It's raining here in New York and in PA. I know it's raining a lot too. So I don't know if the weather distracted people. But let's see if we could share and then we'll play the video. Oh, and then my friend is live, so I know she's busy. I don't want to share that one. I want to share this one. Let's just share on Facebook Messenger. She's live. I don't want to bother her. I don't want to bother her. Let's go down the list of people. Hi, Danny, love. We're gonna play the video now. I'm just sharing out a little so I remember what I doing. There we go. Okay. So yeah. Oh, Mary text me. Let's see. Oh, okay. All right. There's Kelly. I'm gonna share you out too. Thank you, Mary. Yes, there's Mary. She's in the chat. Mary, there was all prayers for your son and everybody who needs them. So yeah. Yeah, it's raining on and off with because you said you were gonna have a big when is the hurricane coming? I thought you said you were gonna have a big storm and you were gonna work in it today. Um, I do vaguely remember that. Now, sorry, because I'm going to settings, camera. I'm gonna see if I could turn you guys around so you can see. We'll get it set up for this. You might see all my crafts and stuff in the back, but oh, this might be the best we're gonna get today because I couldn't even go outside because of the rain, so you know. Hey, Krista Hun, how are you? Yeah, we'll hit about 11 to 12 midnight, they're saying. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Not terrible. We trying, guys. You know. You know how. Listen. Old school, but it gets the job done, I think. Okay, volume's up. Very good. Hey, listen. It's not terrible. Yeah. Okay. We did it. Yay for me. Look, old school. Two phones, These old phones, they come in handy for something. So yeah. Shit. Look, you see Abby? Abby, you should be on the live stream, but she left me drinks at June's Journey. Look at her. She's so funny. She's like, hey, I left you drinks. Hey, we're doing a live stream here. Yes, I read. You see all the wolfies? I asked for like a woman druid, and it gave all these wolfies and animals. I was like, oh, how pretty. See how pretty the AI makes me? It loves me. That AI. The AI. Alrighty. Hi, Evie. I was just talking about you, Evie. I said, okay, Evie left me drinks. She should be on my live stream. um, so I did drink your drinks. I didn't leave you one, Evie, because of the fact that, yeah, I used my drink today earlier because I was trying to finish something. Anyway, so now we got a few peeps here. I'm going to start the video and then we can talk about. I was just having breakfast with Gary. Hi, Gary. Much love to you. All right, let's learn about our druids now. Hello and welcome to another spiritual learning video. Today we're going to go over druid beliefs. Probably one of the most striking characteristics of Druidism is the degree to which it is free of dogma and any fixed set of beliefs or practices. In this way, it manages to offer a spiritual path, a way of being in the world that avoids many of the problems of intolerances that the established religions have encountered. There is no sacred text or the equivalent of a Bible in Druidism, and there is no universally agreed set of beliefs amongst Druids. Despite this, there are a number of ideas and beliefs that most Druids hold in common, and that help to define the nature of Druidism today. Let's go over the theology. Since Druidism is a spiritual path, a religion to some, a way of life to others, Druids share a belief in the fundamentally spiritual nature of life. Some will favor a particular way of understanding the source of this spiritual nature and may feel themselves to be animalists or just relating to the existence of a divine reality. Others will avoid choosing any one conception of deity, believing that by its very nature, this is unknowable by the mind. Monotheistic Druids believe there is one deity, either a goddess or a god, or a being who is better named Spirit or Great Spirit, to remove misleading associations to gender. But other Druids are duotheists, believing that deities exist as a pair of forces or beings, which they often characterize as the god and goddess. Polytheistic Druids believe that many gods and goddesses exist, while animalists and pantheists believe that a deity does not exist as one or more personal gods, but is instead present in all things and is everything. Whether they have chosen to adapt a particular viewpoint or not, the greatest characteristic of most modern day Druids lies in their tolerance of diversity. A Druid gathering can bring together people who have wildly varying views about deity or none, and they will happily participate in ceremonies together, celebrate the seasons, and enjoy each other's company, realizing that none of us have the monopoly on truth and that diversity is both healthy and natural. Nature forms such an important focus on their relevance that whatever beliefs they hold about deity, all Druids sense nature as divine or sacred. Every part of nature is sensed as part of the great web of life, with no one creature or aspect of it having supremacy over another. Unlike religions that are anthropocentric, believing humans occupy a central role in the scheme of life, this conception is systematic and holistic and sees humankind as just one part of the wider family of life. Their beliefs in the other world. Although Druids love nature and draw inspiration and spiritual nourishment from it, they also believe that the world we see is not the only one that exists. A cornerstone of Druid belief is in the existence of the other world, a realm or realms which exist beyond the reach of the physical senses, but which are nevertheless real. This other world is seen as a place we travel to when we die, but we can also visit it in our lifetime, in our dreams, meditation, under hypnosis, or in journeying when in a shamanic trance. Different Druids will have different views on the nature of this other world, but it is a universally held belief for three reasons. Firstly, all religions or spiritualities hold the view that another reality exists beyond the physical world, rather than agreeing with materialism that holds that only matter exists and is real. Secondly, Celtic mythology, which inspires so much of Druidism, is filled with descriptions of the other world. Thirdly, the existence of the other world is implicit in the greatest belief of the ancient Druids, since classical writers stated that the Druids believe in a process that has been described as reincarnation, in which a soul lives in a succession of forms, including both human and animal. In between each life in human or animal form, the soul rests in the other world. The Druids' belief on death and rebirth. While a Christian Druid may believe that the soul is only born once on earth, most Druids adapt to the belief of their ancient ancestors that the soul undergoes a process of consecutive reincarnations, either always in human form or in a variety of forms that might include trees and even rocks as well as animals. Many Druids share the belief reported by Philostratus in the 2nd century that the Celts believed that to be born into this world, we had to die in the other world, and vice versa, that when we die here, we are born into the other world. For this reason, Druid funerals try to focus on the idea that the soul is experiencing a time of birth, even though here we are experiencing that as their death. Let's go over the 3 goals of a Druid. A clue as to the purpose behind the process of consecutive rebirths can be found if we look at the goals of the Druid. Druids seek, above all else, cultivation of wisdom, creativity, and love. A number of lives on Earth, rather than just one, gives us the opportunity to fully develop these qualities within us. Wisdom. The goal of wisdom is shown to us in 2 old teaching stories. One, the story of Finn McCool from Ireland, and the other story is Taliesin from Wales. In both stories, wisdom is sought by an older person, in Ireland in the form of the Solemn of Wisdom, in Wales in the form of 3 drops of inspiration. In both stories, a younger helper ends up tasting the wisdom, so jealousy sought by the adults. These tales, rather than simply teaching the virtues of innocence and helpfulness, contain instructions for achieving wisdom, encoded within their symbolism and the sequence of events they describe, and for this reason are used in the teachings of Druidism. Creativity. The goal of creativity is also central to Druidism because of the bards have long been seen as participants in Druidism. Many believe that in the old days they transmitted the wisdom of the Druids through song and story, and with their vast memories they knew the genealogy of the tribes and the stories associated with the local landscape. Celtic cultures display a love of art, music, and beauty that often evokes awareness of the other world, and their old Braddock tales depict a world of sensual beauty in which craftspeople and artists are highly honored. Love. Druidism can be seen as fostering the 3rd goal of love in many different ways to encourage us to broaden our understanding and experience of it, so that we can love widely and deeply. Druidism's reverence for nature encourages us to love the land, the earth, the stars, and the wild. Often, Druid ceremonies begin with an offering of peace to each cardinal direction. There's a Druid peace prayer, and Druids plant peace groves. The Druid's path also encourages the love of beauty because it cultivates the bard, the artist within, and fosters creativity. The love of justice is developed in modern Druidism by being mentioned in the Druid's prayer, and many believe that the ancient Druids were judges and lawmakers who were more interested in restorative than punitive justice. Druidism also encourages a love of each other by fostering the magic of relationship and community, and above all, the love of life by encouraging celebration and a full commitment to life. It is not a spirituality which tries to help us escape from a full engagement with the world. Living in the world, the real test of the value of the spiritual path lies in the degree to which it can help us live our lives in the world. It needs to be able to provide us with inspiration, counsel, and encouragement as we navigate the sometimes difficult and even tragic events that can occur during a lifetime. The web of life and the illusion of separateness, woven into much of Druid thinking and all of its practice, is the idea or belief that we are all connected in a universe that is essentially benign, that we do not exist as an isolated being who must fight to survive in a cruel world. Instead, we are seen as part of a great web or fabric of life that includes every living creature and all of creation. The law of harvest, related to the idea that we are all connected in one great big web of life, is the belief held by most Druids that whatever we do in the world creates an effect, which will ultimately also affect us. A similar idea can be found in many different cultures and traditions. Folk wisdom in Britain says that what goes around comes around. And in ancient Egypt, they say, as ye sow, so shall ye reap. What is sown? Love, anger, or bitterness? That shall be your bread. The corn is no better than its seed. Then let what you plant be good. In Hinduism and Buddhism, the idea is expressed as the doctrine of cause and effect, called karma. The two beliefs that all is connected and that we will harvest the consequence of our actions come naturally to the Druids because they represent ideas that evolve out of an observation of the natural world. Just as the feeling of our being part of the great web of life can come to us as we gaze in awe at the beauty of nature, so the awareness that we will reap the consequence of our action also comes to us as we observe the process of sowing and harvesting. Druidism's modern worldwide appeal lies in its focus on reverence for the natural world, a belief in the values of personal creativity and of developing a sense of communication with the powers of nature and the spirit. Its startling recent growth derives from its broad appeal, some treat it as a philosophy, others a religion, still others as a path of self-development. The practice of Druidism used to be confined to those who could learn from a Druid in person, but now you can take an experience-based course wherever you live. And when you take this course, you also join the Order of the Bards. Thank you for joining us for another spiritual learning video. And there we go. Wait, let's put Danny back on here. There we go, right? There's two of us. Okay. Let me see if I could turn me around once I turn myself around. Turn myself around. That's what it's all about. Okay. All right. So I tried to get as much information. I hope, Sarah told me that was good information, Danny. So
It's not bad.
so, I make sure with them before I'm like, is this stuff right? She was told me yes.
Hello, everybody. What came in, what I didn't say hello to in chat because I'm now on this thing here where I can't type in there. So there you have it.
Oh,
Yeah.
she had a question, Lindsay.
Well, that's good. I can't see chat. I can't read. It's too small.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna read it for you. The Triskel, what does it stand for? Now I know it's the three swirl one, and it usually means everyone's different, but is there a meaning? Is that like a Druidism sign? Is there a higher meaning to it?
Yeah, the deepest meaning. Well, it depends on your order too. Like it depends on if you're a nature druid or if you're alchemist druid or if you're, depend on which one you go. It could be different things, but the base of it is life, living, and afterlife, right? So for all of it, for everyone, and for all beings, we all have three stages. We have our birth, we have our life, we have our death, right? That's what the core of it was, or the very core of it is about, right? But it's all about Trinity. It's all about three, okay? So mind, body, and spirit. it could represent that. It could represent, in some cases, it'll represent Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. In some cases, it'll represent animals, man, and nature. In some cases, it'll represent, but basically, it represents three things that are tied as a one. Okay. So basically, all it's saying, and to our belief, to the nature side of things, all things are connected, all things are one, right? Which is basically what it's saying. It's saying that, you know, everything is connected. So if you damage this thing here, the repercussions are going to damage the next parts, right? So it kind of reminds us to respect all things in nature. You know, there are times, of course, you've got to take action and do stuff, but the majority of it is respect all things because all things are connected.
There you
That's
go.
pretty much that's pretty much what that means.
Thank you, Lindsay, for your questions. So, do you guys, while we have a Druid master up on the panel, have any
I'm an
questions?
elder. I'm just an elder. I'm not a master.
Well, so you're everybody
There's
here's master.
in our way, like I think the alchemists have masters. I think a couple of them do, but in the nature side, we just have elders. Um, that's it. We have the young, and the young don't always do what they're told, you know. And then we have uh, the wisdom seekers who are still trying to find their own peace. Then we have the peacemakers, and then we have the elders. You're very welcome. Thank you, Astro.
Welcome, Lindsay. Oh, okay.
Astro just told me that she said thank you. So well, you're
Thank you,
very
Astro,
welcome.
for reading the chat for us.
Oh, he's always reading the chat.
Danny, we see you as the druid with the long beard and wizard's hat.
There you go. There you go.
That's from Miss Evie. Yeah, Carl was saying like, the courses that you could take are not really they're kind of not good. A lot of them.
Um, uh, yeah. There are some courses that you can take that are, I guess, a good starting point or leap off faith, right? Um, but that's not how you become a druid.
Right.
Um, there's really only two ways. Number one, of course, is learn from another druid. Simple as, right?
Right.
The other one is go on your journey, you know, start off with asking yourself, like, I think I come from 15 generations of us. So, I mean, yeah, yeah, I got lots of different ideas, but the main thing you need to do is ask yourself three little questions, okay? Three little ones. What do I value? That's the first question, okay? So, what do you value? Do you value life? Do you value nature? Do you value animals? You know, do you value wealth? Like, what is it that you truly value? If you had to pick one thing, search your soul and answer the question, what do I value? Right? The second question is, what can I believe or swallow? Okay. Now, that's that's an interesting thing because I'll give you an example. I believe in the elementals, obviously, right? The
Mhm.
elementals to me are what the saints would be per se, and they're not. They're not anything alike, obviously, but it'd be like the saints for Catholic. Okay, and this is like a way left field example. They really got nothing in common, but that's not the point. The point is the Catholic people can believe and can conceive and can swallow that there are saints.
Right.
Okay. I, for one, cannot. I can believe there are people that, they're pretty damn good people, but I can't associate with it. I can't um, bow to it, if that's even close to
Right.
what I'm trying to get at. Okay. Now, the other hand is the elementals. Okay. To me, I look at the elementals in our way, in our books, in our teachings. The elementals started with fire, right? So the fire erupted when a star exploded, say whatever. You can put whatever story you want to it, but the bedtime story as a child we got was the universe or the creator or the powers that be or the supernova power, whatever you want to call it, the creator God or um, different names. I'm not going to say what we call them. Okay, but the powers decided it's time to make a change. So they allowed a supernova to explode, which caused fire. Fire got super hot. Fire was the first elemental, right? As it exploded, the lava went flying through space and it started to harden, which became Earth, right? So now we have Earth as the next elemental. Then, because of all the heat, it created moisture. Moisture created the rains. So we had water, which in turn brought forth the wood of the trees. And the trees brought forth the oxygen, the air, right? So there's your five elementals right from the birth of everything. Okay. So in our system and what we believe is the elementals were the first of all creations. So they need to be respected as such, right? And we have different things like skinwalkers and demons or whatever. Well, we don't call them that, of course, but we got all those things. But they are babies compared to the elementals, right? The elementals were here for a million years before the first demon was ever conceived, right? So that's kind of the way that ours work. Like the way that our family believes, comes from a long, long time history, right? So, and that's the second question. Like, what can you swallow? Me, I can't swallow saints. I can't bow down to a saint who put his pants on one leg at a time, just like I do. Okay, basically, is what it is. Okay, but I do bow down to the elementals. See, they
Mhm.
don't even wear pants. You know what I mean? So that's the next thing you got to ask yourself is what can I as a person believe? Okay. Now religion is the next one. There is no such thing. Okay. You cannot follow a religion. I don't follow a religion. I don't think anyone can really follow a religion because to follow a religion, you have to be perfect. And nothing, not even anything in nature, is perfect. Okay. What you can follow is your heart and what you believe. Okay. So religion has to be what you believe. Like you can group it. Like there are Druids, there are Catholics, there's Muslims, there's Buddhists, there's, you know, and they are all religion types. Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, my sister calls them a lot of it philosophies. It's the she doesn't call it
There's
religion. She calls it philosophies. Like these are their spiritual philosophies for their life to follow.
right. And you can follow whatever philosophy or religion it that you can fit. Okay. But the problem is if you don't believe it, then what are you doing saying, you know, that that you believe it? So like for me, I believe in the Druid society and the Druid system. I don't believe everything that the Druids taught. I believe some things over here, some things over there. But religion is what you make it. That's the bottom line because it all stems from belief. So the next thing is what do you believe? What can you accept? What can you believe? That is your religion.
Right.
Because from those belief and from that belief, that's where your faith comes from, right? That's the seed to faith is what you believe, right? So if you want to be a druid or any religion, what is the most important thing to you? What do you value? What can you believe? What don't you want to believe? And take the time to learn what you believe. See what I'm saying?
Hmm.
That's how you become anything, druid or otherwise, is if you don't believe in something, how can it give you faith?
Right.
Right? Now, don't get me wrong. Say we'll pick on some other Christianity. We'll pick on the Methodists, okay? Because I am a pastor in the Methodist church, so I can do that. So, do I believe everything that the Methodist church proclaims? No. Do I believe in a lot of it? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to adapt what I believe from there because that's my faith, right? It doesn't mean I have to believe every slice of cheese that they give me, right? You don't have to believe every word someone says. You do have to believe what you believe. If you believe it, you believe it. Simple as, right? If to you think it's horse shit and you can't believe it, well, then you can't believe it. It's no good to you at that point, right? Your religion has to be your religion. That's the point, right?
Yep.
If it's not your religion, you can't believe it. So you can only believe what you can believe, right? And I advise everybody, seek out whatever religion you want. Find whatever diocese or whatever councils or whatever um, religions or anything. Doesn't really matter. Okay. None of that matters. What does matter is that you believe what you're saying, you believe in what you believe in, right? Stand by that. That's the most important thing, you know. Um, it's not about finding because you're never gonna, okay? It's not about finding a religion that you believe everything they tell you because that'll never happen. Okay, you're not gonna find one religion where you believe every single thing that you're told. Okay, there's always going to be a doubt here and a doubt here and a doubt there. That's not going to help you. Doubts don't help you. It's what you believe that helps you, right? And so don't be afraid uh, to adjust what you believe. And as we grow and as we change and as we learn, we believe different things throughout our lives, right? And you can't just say, oh, this person's a witch and that's it, because that's not true. She could be a static witch. She could be a Wiccan. She could be any type of witch she wants to be, right? She is going to choose what she believes and follow her own path. And that might include the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. It might not, right? It's none of our business. It's her religion, it's her belief, and it's none of your business unless she wishes to share it with you, right? What someone else believes, hey, I'm 100% for that. Okay. I do not care what another person believes as long as they believe it, as long as they have faith in it, as long as they're proud of it. And as long as they're not doing things to hurt other people, they're golden in my books. I love them to death. They're welcome at my table. See what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I don't give a crap what someone believes. If they got a good heart, they believe what they believe, and they go around with a black heart and hurting people, then they're good people. Simple as, right? And that's the whole process of Judaism is I cannot make a blade of grass turn over and change color any more than I can make someone else believe something they don't want to believe,
Right.
right? And it's not up to me to do that. It's up to nature to do that. It's up to the nature, it's up to your own nature to believe what you want to believe. It's not up to me to tell you what to believe. Right? I can't tell you what to believe or what not to. I can tell you what I believe.
Hmm.
I'm always happy to do that, but I can't tell you what you should or shouldn't believe, and I don't. It's none of my business.
Right.
You know.
No, it's true. Like, you know, that's why we're doing all these different spiritualities and philosophies and stuff, um, because you learn so many different things, and you always take away something, and you're like, wow, these people believe that too. I believe that, you know? And so you it's so interesting to see how many different people really believe in the deities and stuff, and for society to say, well, these people, they believe in mythology, so that's their religion. And I'm like, it's not a mythology to them, it's their, belief. So to call it kind of a mythology is kind of weird, since they believe that these gods exist. It's not mythology,
Calling
obviously.
it calling it something a mythology or a religion, either or, in my opinion, is racist. It's biased. It's like, who are you to say what I believe isn't real?
Right.
To you, yeah, to you it's mythology. To me, it's real. It's real. It's there's nothing mythical about it. It's just real, right?
Right.
So, I mean, the concept of the social belief and the social patterns and this and that, really, I don't care. It's not anything to do with me. You know what I mean? It's I don't know.
Hmm.
Like now, and I'm going to be 100% honest. I have absolutely nothing wrong with what people choose to believe. If you fall in love with someone, fantastic, right? Who that person is, I don't care. One way or the other, right? Like to me, it's like love or anything is so rare in the first place.
Right.
If you find happiness, then that's really, isn't that what matters? Right. So in saying that, there are things, agendas that get pushed that, I got to shake my head at, but otherwise life is good. You know,
That's right.
why complicate shit? What I mean? Like,
That's true. There's no need for that. We had some questions for you. Carl asked, Danny, have you read the Welsh sagas and Irish Tregely? I can't say the word, but I'm assuming you know what it is.
trilogy, yeah. No, no, I haven't. I have never read anything. Never. The only book I ever read, honestly, the only thing I ever read in my life was a book called Charlotte's Web. Other than that, I've never read a damn thing.
Yeah, Danny did all his learnings in person with a person. um, Evie says, okay, faith is your own journey. Find what it is true for you. I don't believe in any one religion. I find my truth in all religions. Only what I find true to me. Also, it changes as I learn more. Right. And then
Exactly.
Evie said also limiting a person's learning is, you know, not something that's good in this society. Um, Carl said that the path to the ancient watchers from the great oak grove. Mm. Junior Tolkien studied the old ways, had so many books on it, and put lots of signs and old stories in Lord of the Rings films. Oh, that's cool. That's why I love your spiritual series. It opens your mind to learning different things. Yes, Evie. Um, yeah, that's why I started doing it because I figured, oh, sorry, had to move my leg. It was getting stiff. I figured we wanted to do a series, but I didn't really want it to be based on paranormal only because for all of us, we know the paranormal exists, right? So I wanted to like kind of do things that I wanted to learn anyway and then share with you guys, you know? So that's what we've been doing now. We're doing it 8 months. Um, I still love like the first videos we did. We had the elementals. Hey Kim, we had the learning about the spirit guides and some of the deities. It's hard to find a lot on the deities because, like I said, everybody believes their society believes their mythology, so it's quite hard to find something on each deity. um, to do, like all the deities in the grove and stuff. We did the four winds and the four directions because they had stuff on them because multiple different philosophies included them, the Greeks, the Egyptians, the Chinese, you know, uh, the African, the not the African group, the Native Americans. There was so many groups that had the four winds and the four directions in it, which they all grouped with the four colors. Even though it's a separate one, they kind of put them together. They go along together. Um, but there was information on them. The other ones, like, it's so difficult because, society's not for all of this. They think, that it's mythology, or
Yeah,
it's
but
metaphors, or, so some things are hard to find. But I've been trying, guys, to, like,
yeah,
find
but
as much
like I
good
say,
information.
for any religion and for Druid as well, find what's valuable, right?
Yeah.
If to you medicines are valuable, right? Then you want to maybe look at the herbalist side of the Druids. If nature's the most valuable, then you want to go to the nature, out to the nature, and start seeing what you can learn on your own. That's how it all starts, right? With the animal kinship and the totems and all that. It's all about your experiences, right? It's all about what you experience, what you've learned, what you see, what you feel, you know. And I think that's the best place to start. Um, but yeah, I mean, you can always ask somebody that like say you had a religion you were interested in, okay? And you know someone in that faith, okay? Or that has adopted a, a good part of that faith. Then go ask questions, go find out information from the horse's mouth, like right from the person, right? And see what they can share with you, right? And basically, it's all about learning, it's all about exploring, sometimes taking a step into something to see how it works, like, and just find your own niche, find your own path. And once you find your path, you're gonna you're gonna start to see things a little differently, and um, you'll pick up information as you go, not even realizing you're doing it, right? And that's really the only way to do it, in my opinion. Whatever that's worth. But for me, I was fortunate. I had elders and I had teachers, and you know, because the family's been in it for so damn long that I'm basically raised in it. So it's a totally different thing, right? Now, with that being said, I've met hundreds of different druids and things, hundreds of different shamans and things. And yeah, everyone's different. Everyone's a little bit different, right? Like we all have, and it's odd because, from this country to that country to this country to that country, there seems to be quite a huge road or pathway that everyone is on. Everyone believes on this pathway of this part, right? But also, everyone has their own twists and off branches and offshoots of the things. But every one of those offshoots come right back to the road again, you know?
Well,
So it's
yeah,
kind of,
that's what I was said in the video. Like, it's funny because there's like the like three like really core beliefs that all of them follow, and then there's like all these, like you said, some believe there's only the two deity, the goddess and the goddess. Some don't believe in the deities. There's all the offshoots, but the three main points everyone believes in who are druids. And I thought, wow, that's like super interesting. It's very broad, which is why they were saying so many people want to explore becoming a druid, and why it's got so popular lately.
yeah, like with most of the most of the nature druids that I know, um, and the other ones too, they really don't give a damn what you believe, right? They do give a damn to the point that they're going to support you, they're going to help you, they're going to, not judge you, right? Like, because really, our in our whole belief system, it's you don't do that. You
Right.
don't tell someone what they should believe because it's none of your business what they believe. That's kind of like one of our foundations, right? But you support what they believe because to them, that's their faith, that's their reality. Who are you to mess with that shit, right? So, like with all the nature druids, with all the people I know, nobody cares what other people believe in a negative way. We care a positive way that it makes them stronger as a person,
Right.
right? It helps them deal with the things in their life that they're dealing with, right? And it's from their experiences in life that they believe what they believe, right? Now, I have not had their life. So how can I even attempt to understand how they believe what they believe? I haven't had their experiences. I've had my own, right?
Right.
That'd be like saying to somebody, okay, explain why I believe what I believe. How the hell are you ever gonna know? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you haven't walked in my life, right? You haven't been part of my river. You haven't walked my land. You haven't climbed my trees. You know what I mean?
You
So
haven't walked a mile in my shoes, as my mama used to say.
that's exactly right. And until you do, you have no say.
Right.
And even if you do, right, you still don't have a say because two people can have the same experience and have two different outcomes, right? So even if you have the exact same experience as somebody else, the way that experience was to you or how it affected you is not necessarily the way it affected the other person,
That's right.
right? So there is no walking in my shoes. That's a bunch of crap. There's no such thing, right? Because no matter what you experience, someone else may experience the exact same thing in the exact same building at the exact same time, but both people are going to have a totally different concept of what happened.
Right.
So you cannot tell someone what they should or shouldn't believe.
That's right. Carl said, my great granddaddy took me up to the Welsh Black Mountains at 5 months old, and he showed me the moon and stars, shouted who he was and who I was in a mountain stream. Oh,
Yeah, that's your ancestral. That's well, we call that an ancestral cry, where it's both a plead of help this person grow, right? But it's also a warning. Don't piss this kid off because when it grows up, you're gonna have to deal with it, right? So it's kind of like it's a double edged thing, but
hi,
mainly
Roberta.
it's just saying my grandson or my child has arrived, right? Um, and that's actually quite common. Um, it's quite a common thing in the nature side, right? Like um, when my kids were born, I went to the forest, to the woods, to the animals, and proclaimed that they were here, right? So that's kind of a common thing that we do, right? So I can see why that would be done. Like to me, it makes perfect sense, right?
Right. Evie says, I find some of it hard because the learnings are linked so much to the northern hemisphere. Even in the north side, it's an opposite season to Australia. And then Roberta says, hello, Danny.
No,
Danny might remember me as Panther Paranormal.
Arthur, brother, how are you? Yeah, I went to your channel the other day. I seen it by accident somehow, and I was like, oh, cool. So I left you a message to say hi to you. I don't know if you saw it or not. Yeah, Panther's cool. Very, very good friend of mine from a long time ago, but we lost contact for a couple years. But yeah, make sure you what's that word? Click my channel anyway, so that I can click you back on this channel.
Yeah, Danny's doing strongman, so he might. Did you do it with the strongman channel? Say hello.
Um, I don't no, I can't type in here.
Oh,
You'll have to put my link in because I can't type on here.
I know. What I'm asking is, do you want the strongman channel or you?
Yes, yes. Put the strong man. I gotta
Uh,
shut my camera off for a few minutes. Dooby doo. There.
okay, this is Danny Strongman. This is what he's been doing, Roberta, lately. Um, Not so much the paranormal. Let me put it in there. That's Danny's strongman channel.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. Oh, wait, oh, I didn't know if my son was coming out. He needed something. Thought I
Yeah.
heard him. Might have just
Yeah,
bathroom.
after 55 years of working in the paranormal, I kind of retired. Uh, that's a long time. Um, no, I do stuff with my grove. I work with my grove. I do my beliefs every day. The things I believe in and my faith stuff. And if someone needs help with something or needs advice or something, I don't mind doing that. But um, right now, I'm super focused on my first strongman contest coming up on December the 14th. So I'm really been focusing on getting stronger and healthier and trying to keep my all my sicknesses at bay. So
She clicked on you. She's got you, Danny. I've been watching a lot of cryptid stuff. Ah, cryptids are super interesting. I have a video about things that used to be cryptids that they thought were cryptids, like the platypus, but that now, of course, it's not a cryptid anymore because we discovered it. But it was super interesting. That's in the spiritual learning playlist. Where's it being held? Kelly said the one that you signed up for because the other one was filled. So where's this one?
Texas,
Texas. There you go, Kelly. Texas.
December 14th, I'm going to Texas to do a strongman contest there, and then April, I think. I don't know. I have to double check. Don't quote me on April. And when I'm going to the homeland, to Scotland, to do a contest there in the summer, and then I'm going to Ireland after that to do a contest there. Uh, then I'm going to Manitoba. I've got a contest there to do, and then I'm going to St. Paul, Minnesota. And then I'm going back to Scotland. Yeah, so that's all I know so far.
Ah, um, James said, thank you so much, Danny, for it was very insightful. Um, Roberta says she's been watching a lot of Dogman stuff for some reason. Um,
He, Panther's a he.
oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart. The name Roberta, I think it's. I always say she. I apologize then. You didn't correct me, sweetheart.
Well, you know.
No, I'm saying that, you know. No, I don't know. The picture's a female. I'm pretty sure she's a she. Yeah, says, nope, I'm a female. Thank you. Okay, I'm like, oh my God, you didn't correct me all this time? Nope, I'm a female.
Mhm.
My picture was only a Black Panther. Oh, so, when she was the Black Panther, you couldn't tell because she was incognito, but she's a female.
Okay.
Okay. Um, Now she's got the cool picture with her with the hair and the glasses. Very cool, like Motley Crue look. Stealthy. Yeah, she's stealthy. um Oh, your dinner finally came. Okay, yeah, listen while you eat. I hope the boyfriend's not too wet from the rain. Dry him off first. Don't have him get a cold. I did a lot of water stuff in the box. Oh. Now when you say the water stuff with the paranormal, it was that like I know my friend like put something in the water and like it was able to spin like kind of like a pendulum. Hey, honey, how are you? Thank you for coming in. Carry on, Jeff and John. Thanks, John, for coming in. If you guys don't have him, he does lovely cooking, so check him out.
Oh, oh,
Carry on, Jeff and John. That's my friend John. Been doing cooking. I used to watch his live streams during the pandemic. Oh, saved my life watching him cook. um, it's going good. Have you read any reports of hunters, hickers getting saved by Bigfoot attacking dogmen? Oh,
mhm.
I got a lot of pictures just going to water. Wow. Oh, interesting.
No, I haven't. I haven't seen any of that. I I have run into Bigfoot a couple times. A very friendly chap. I ran into him a couple of times, and I met his kids once. That's actually true. I'm not joking. Um,
Yes, Danny had a lovely Bigfoot encounter. Oh, you're welcome, sweetheart. Yeah, no, it was true. Like during that time, it was hard. So you had to find things that made you happy, and yeah, so I loved watching your live streams. Wow, I've never seen one. See that? Oh, you should tell your story, Danny.
yeah. Well, first time. Okay, first of all, who wants to hear my Bigfoot story? If you do, put a one in the
Who wants
chat.
to hear the Bigfoot story? Put a one in the chat.
I can tell you three of them. Two of them is very short. One of them is a little longer. If you want to hear the Bigfoot stories, put a one in chat. Otherwise, I'm not telling you nothing.
Ah, thanks, John. That's because of that funny song that I made you, isn't it? And I'm sorry for my horrible singing, but I did that. I did do a fun shout out for you. So we have Kelly, Roberta, Evie, James, Kim, and Carl, who all put a one in there.
Okay, well, that's more. That's more than five.
Mhm.
So I always say, if you get five or more, then I'll do it. So okay.
That's it. That's half. So while you're telling the story, I'm going to make coffee real quick.
All right. So I was out at the homestead. This is years ago. I was just a young lad, and I was tired of everybody. I just wanted to be alone for a little while. I'm tired of everybody bugging me. So I think I can take a grab the tent and you know lawn chair or whatever. I said I'm gonna go down to the river. And I'm gonna hang out there for a couple of days because there was like 18 people at the homestead for some reason. I don't even know what the hell it was about. Um, but anyway, there was lots of people there. Normally, there's only four of us, right? So there was just way too many people for me to have west to the river. So away it went. And I got there and I set up camp and everything else. And I got a little fire going and I put my stick in the ground, hung my coffee pot, and I was just sitting there relaxing. And I kind of like this with my hat over my eyes. And I heard this big splash, right? So I was like, what the hell? So I sat up, put my hat up, and I look, and there he is. He's standing right in the middle of the river, right? Now, at first I thought it was a bear. At first my first thought, oh, a bear, right? No big deal. There's 100 bears here, right? I, you got to understand, it's 33 miles before you hit an actual road that you can drive on, right? So it's 35 miles in the woods, in the bush, in the forest. So anyway, I look, and then it stands up, and it's got arms and everything, and it looks at me, and I looked at it. I was like, "Oh, there, how you going?" Right, and then that's all that came to my brain. That's all I could think of to do, and so I kind of looked at it, and I just sort of turned to mind my business. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to look it in the eyes. I didn't want to show any type of aggression or anything. So I just poured my coffee. So I sat there drinking my coffee, and he turned and he went up on the ledge, the shore, whatever. He sat there for a while, and all of a sudden, splash! And I look up, and he pulls out this fish. I think it was a sucker, to be honest. I don't think it was a. If I'm not mistaken, it was a sucker fish. Anyway, sat there eating his fish, and I was drinking my coffee. So I looked at him and went, "Wow, thanks a lot. Now I'm hungry," right? I said, looking right at him. "Well, thanks a lot. Now I'm hungry." So I went in my tent and I grabbed a sandwich and I came out and I sat there eating my sandwich. He ate his fish. He stood up, looked at me, and went, turned and disappeared, just walked off into the bush. And I'm sitting there going, shit, did I just see that? And even though I experienced that, right? I'm sitting there going, did I see that? Like I couldn't get my brain to acknowledge what I saw, right? And I thought to myself, boy, those people at the camp really must be stressing me out. I'm seeing bloody Sasquatches now, whatever. Anyway, so I didn't think too much about it. And I went about minding my own business, enjoying. Went, sat on the river, did a little fishing, caught a fish, cooked a fish. I said, I think about 3 fish. So anyway, I was cooking them up. I ate one, had 2 in the frying pan. I thought, what the hell? So I took the frying pan, I walked across the river, and I put the 2 fish on the stone where he was sitting before. I figured, what the hell, Share, he's bigger than I am. I'm full. 2 fish might, at least take the edge off if he's hungry. So put the fish out, and I went back the other side, back to my thing, sat in my chair, put my can down, and then I don't know, it was starting to get a little bit dark out, so I thought, well, I'm going to take a nap. So I went into the tent to have a sleep, right? Thought, well, I'm just going to have a nap. That's what I'm going to do. So I went in there, and I don't know how long it was. I don't know how long I slept, but all of a sudden I heard, and it felt like the ground was. If you ever watched that movie Jurassic Park, that's what it felt like. Boom, boom, boom. And I was like, oh boy. And all of a sudden it started again, but you could tell it was going the other direction, like it was getting less and less bouncy, right? So I thought, well, whatever. I'm tired. I didn't feel like I was I was basically too lazy. So then about 45 minutes, an hour later, whatever, I got up, went and sat in my chair, went to pour a cup of coffee. And as I'm pouring the coffee, I look down, and in the coals is a fish, a raw fish sitting in the coals. And I'm like, dude. So that's what I did. I turned around, dude, thanks a lot. So, of course, I cooked up the fish. I made 2 fillets. I cooked up the fish. I ate one and brought one back across the river and put it on the rock for him. So, and that was my very first experience to ever run across anything like that. And then I think it was near 2 or 3 months later, like the next morning, I packed up, went back. A couple of 3 months later, I went back to the same spot because that was my private uh, camping spot, right? So again, I'm sitting there just enjoying myself, and here he comes. I end up nicknaming him Sash for some reason. I guess for Sasquatch. I don't know. Anyway, call him Sash. Anyway, so I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear a big, loud crack, right? Oh, what the hell? And I turned over. There he comes, coming through the thing, and this huge ass tree come down. Nowhere near me, but where he was walking, right? And he came in, he sat on his rock, and he put his legs in the water, and he looked over at me, and he grunted. So I said, hey, Sash, how's it going, buddy? And that was it. Then I turned, and I'm doing my thing, right? All of a sudden, out of the blue, I hear this huge splash, right? And I thought, what the hell? So I had to look to see what it was, because it was loud, right? And here is another one, but tiny. Well, compared to Sash, it was probably taller than I was, probably like 6 foot tall, this thing, but it was small in comparison to the one that I've seen, right? Anyway, and I'm looking, and it starts splashing the water with both hands, right? And then Sash splashes the water twice, right? And then it splashes a couple of times, and then he goes like this, and it basically like a wave goes over top of this little one, and the little one's jumping up and down and splashing, right? And then it dawns on me, And I'm laughing. I'm having a good time watching this, right? I'm laughing and I'm looking. And all of a sudden, I felt like a peeping Tom. It was like, wait a second. This is a little baby, one of those things. I'm a pervert. I'm watching this little baby playing over. So I got up, I turned my chair, and I faced the tent. I said, "Sorry, Sash." I drank my coffee, right? And I really felt embarrassed because I was watching this, right? And I felt like, a pervert or something, right? So, yeah, it was embarrassing. Anyway, so I turned my head and I started up. I swear to God, he laughed. Okay, I swear to God. Uh, it was like, like these grunts, right? But kind of like Lurch off the Adams Family, like that sort of video. Because I turned my back to it, right? And then after a few minutes, I heard splashing and away they went, and that was that, right? So that was the second time I ever saw anything like that. And then the last time I was at a different place, it was a provincial park, and I'm still not 100% sure that's what it was, but I was in my whole trailer, my tent trailer, pop up tent trailer. And I was sleeping there, and it was like 5:30 in the morning. So I got up, I had to go do, nature's business sort of a deal. So I got up and I went outside, and I see this bear. At least that's what I thought it was at first, walking beside the ledge, And then this place, there was like a 200 cliff, and up near the top was a bunch of old native paintings, like I can't remember what the word for those are, but these old ancient paintings at this park.
The
Anyway,
hieroglyph.
thank you, hieroglyphics. So that's why I went there, was I wanted to check out these hieroglyphs. That's why I was there in the first place. Anyway, so this bear on all fours is walking along the side. So, me being me, I yelled, "Hello, Mr. Bear." And it stood up on its hind legs. It looked at me, turned, faced the rocks, and hand over hand, poof, poof, poof. It went up that bloody mountain, that cliff, that sheared off thing. Like in 20 seconds, it was at the top. It just went straight up. And it got to the top, it turned, it looked at me, it took 2 steps back on all fours and took off. I can't explain that. Like I can't, I gotta say it was Bigfoot, right?
Yeah,
I have to, but damn. So yeah, that's it. That's the entire that's my entire experience with them. And I've never seen another one since. So that's it.
that's it. Well,
That's it. But yeah, geez, I tell you that, when I caught myself staring at this little one splashing back and forth in the water, I felt like a pervert. I really embarrassed myself for that. I don't know why. But to me, it was like, if I took my daughter or my son even, that was very young, and I was sitting on the side of the river and they were splashing, and some hairy ass dude staring at them I'd be pissed, right? I'd be like, dude, put your eyes back in your head and turn around, like and that's kind of what it made me feel like. I was like, dude, so what are you staring at, So, so that's what happened that day. It's just like, it just felt like if I was a dad sitting at a river, letting my kid play in the river, and some person I don't even know is staring and laughing, it would make me a little bit upset, right? So, so I got embarrassed, but I turned around, but always something.
yep. I never seen the Bigfoot. I did see something else one time. I know it was some kind of what they would call a cryptid because it didn't look like any kind of animal. Scared the bejeebies out of me. But I was so interested to see it, you know? I think actually I did a little story about it on my channel one day. Yeah, about this I don't know what it was.
Yep, yep.
boar dog mix. I don't know.
But anyway, I thought about it like even now, years later, I think about the time that I had breakfast and shared fish with Bigfoot. You
With
know,
that's
you
right.
know, me and my buddy Bigfoot sharing fish. All these years later, I still remember it. So it impacted me.
Yeah. That was wonderful. I didn't think they were worried because you were happy at the joy of children. That is pure and good. Oh, there you go, Evie. Roberta said that was awesome. James said, wow. Kim laughed. Oh, Roberta also said you made a friend.
It was nice. It was very cool. And like I know just by the reaction after laughing and everything else and enjoying whatever by me because immediately when I turned like that, so I know Sash thought it was funny, right? Like so. I believe that in my heart that he thought, that was pretty funny that I turned around because I was embarrassed. He thought that was a good joke. He didn't mind at all that I was there, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I know that, right? But even after all these years, I still think about it. It's still kind of like, I know he couldn't, he couldn't care less.
Yeah.
And that's like too with all the animals I've ever encountered and with all the stuff in nature that I've dealt with and everything else. I've never been caused harm, you know. And because what our belief though, if you respect nature and you respect the animals, they're going to respect you right back, right?
Yeah.
And I treat the animals and things in nature like I would anybody. Just I don't judge them. I don't think they should be this way or that way. They're going to be what they're going to be. You know.
Right.
So that's it.
Carl says we have a big black cat in local forest and shapeshifters and some very odd stuff. It's known as Canuck Chase, Stamfordshire, very famous place, and UFOs, orbs, and black-eyed children, just to name a few.
Mhm. Yeah, I know. Like I said, I've seen enough. And even working in my field for 55 years, I've seen things that I will never be able to explain in a million years, right? And a lot of stuff that I'll never talk about what I've seen, you know. So, do I believe in cryptids? Do I believe in all these other things? I certainly do. I'd be a two-faced um, idiot, to say that something couldn't be true. Like after some of the shit that's happened to me and some of the things I've seen throughout the years working in my field, um, I'd be a hypocrite, you know, to say that this doesn't exist or that doesn't exist. I'd be a hypocrite. I can't do that.
There's some really odd stuff here in the Appalachians. Oh, is that where you are, Roberta? Cool.
Yeah, there's some weird shit there. That's true. I can't argue that one. But anyway, guys, that's it for my story and anything I can do. So if there's any other questions, I'll answer it. If not, I'm gonna get off of here. Time for
Yes.
time for me time for me to go have a nap.
Do you guys have any questions for Daddy before he heads out? There's some really odd. Oh, wait. I've heard a howl a few times that was weird. Oh, it didn't sound like any kind of howl you ever heard. That might be like that thing that I saw. Okay, Danny, good to see you. Roberta said, thank you, Uncle Danny. Very nice to see you. From Kelly. James said, "Thank you very much, Danny. I have none. Hugs, Danny." From Kim. "Take care, Danny." From Roberta. "Thank you very much, Danny. This has been awesome." From Evie.
Thank you all. All right. Love and blessings to one and all. And we will see you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you, Danny, for joining me, love.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Bye, and so that was a treat. We got to hear a little about Druidism right from a Druid who's been 15 generations into it. So that was lovely. It was like a howl, but mixed with a woman's scream. Yeah, that's kind of what I heard. Like, the creature that I saw was, how to explain it? If it would stand up, it would be like 7 foot tall, at least between 6 and 7 foot tall. Um, because that's how long it was. But it stood on all fours. It had paws maybe of a wolf, and it had ears that looked like a wolf or a dog, but its tail was of a lynx, like one of those little nubby tails, and its nose looked like a boar nose or a pig, hairy, black. The sound it made was something I never heard before, and it kind of was like, somebody told me it sounded like some kind of African, because one time my son's father stayed over, and he said, "Oh," I woke him up. I'm like, "Do you hear it?" He's like, "Oh yeah, it sounds like some African," and I forgot what he said the thing was. And I was like, "But we're not in Africa." It was the middle of the night, like 3 in the morning. So I get up to run to look at it, because I had seen it like 2 nights before, and heard it, but I didn't know what it was so fast I didn't really see it. So this time I went to the big windows to look at it. I had sliding doors, so I opened the curtains, I look at it, right? And at that time my deck wasn't built yet, so I'm just staring at this thing, and it turned around and looked at me and it jetted. But that's when I was really able to see it. And of course, after it jetted a little, I opened the door to run out to see if I can, like, look where it was going or whatever, but it was gone. Like, gone. Um, oh, Lindsay, thank you so much for joining us and coming in, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. I saw the big cat in 2004, 2005, a summer, 150 yards away from me. I stood still, watched it for 7 minutes. Was crazy. 6 foot long and 3 foot high. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what this thing was. I have a video on it. Oh, Lindsay, we do spiritual Thursdays every Thursday, just in case you're interested. We start anywhere between 6 and 6:15 Eastern Standard Time. And we do all sorts of different spiritual stuff. The video actually went out at 7:30 that I played today. If you guys missed it and you're interested in watching the video I made about the Druids, that's on the channel already. Oh, James, you're welcome. I said if you come in again, I'm gonna, when I have my other phone out, because the other day I didn't have. You can't do it on StreamYard. You have to do it through YouTube. But since you came in so many times already now, and Carl too, my gosh, um, been here, Well, I know Carl forever, but he always went to Mary's channel. Now he's visiting me. Druids is very interesting. Yes, it is. And last week, like so far, we did Druidism, we did Tibetan spirituality, we did the Tao Tai Ching. If I said that right. Yeah, a lot of interesting. Oh, we did Henelism, which is like what people say is the religion of mythology, but it's a Greek religion, Mediterranean, really, because not only the Greeks believe in it, but they're all in and about the deities. So next week we'll see if we could get together with Thor and do the Celtics. If not, maybe we'll do shamanism or something of the sort. shamans. I always say it wrong. Well, the hurricane is up. The cat. Oh no. I need to find some info about work tomorrow. Okay, James, you go and stay safe. And I hope, no trees fall near your house or your car or anything else. They are saying that cryptids are being a government bred program. It could be, but a lot of people believe, especially scientists, like I said, because I did that video, that like a lot of places now there's a lot less cryptids than there were way back in the day because there was a lot of places that people weren't. So we couldn't see these things like certain kinds of bears. Um, Now, even that we can go deeper into the water with these different kinds of devices, they're just discovering all these fish and different breeds of things that live in the water that they never could before because they were bottom dwellers. And when you're on the bottom of an ocean that's so many feet down where we can't go normally, we can't discover these things. But now with the machinery, they're discovering all this stuff. Um, so mostly places where we really haven't discovered, we haven't really researched, we haven't really looked, and especially things that may be like Bigfoot that they're like, no, these people are going to do something to us. They're smart. They're hiding. They're not going to let too many people see them, you know? My friend picked a young woman up on the Canuck road, thought she was in trouble. She vanished a mile down the road. He came to me shaking. Oh my God. So she came in the car and then as they were driving a little, she disappeared. Oh no. That would scare the poop out of me too. And I do paranormal stuff, but I don't see it with my eyes. I like hear it and stuff. So if I seen like somebody who looked like really like solid like me and then disappeared, I'd be like, what the hell is going on? I'm losing my mind. Hey Jen, how are you, sweetheart? So yeah, I would probably come to you shaking like, what the heck just happened? And a lot of things don't, scare me necessarily anymore. Like even sometimes like they'll draw pictures on the ghost seer. Like when I do the crossovers, I say, if you want, you could draw me a picture. And sometimes they draw pictures, they're scary. But I'm like, like one was just like a all these teeth, but they were pointy, like maybe like an animal teeth. But it looked like it had a mustache and it looked like he was smiling, right? So I'm like, oh, you have a big smile. You're so happy to cross over. Other people would be like scared of this picture. And I just wasn't. I didn't think anything bad of it at all. I thought like, oh, you're smiling. And you have a cool mustache, But to other people, that would be like, holy crap, that's a scary thing for someone to show you. But I'm like, no, you know. Or when they show me a picture and the person has like red eyes or something, I don't believe that just because they have red eyes means they're bad, because in certain light, right, the eyes of a cat turns colors, all this stuff. A little black cat in the dark when its eyes are glowing looks freaking scary, but it's a cute little black cat, right? It's a black kitten, but it could look really scary. So even that, I'm like, oh, look at your dress or something. Like it doesn't I don't feel that everything's scary anymore because there's so many different things that I know now that I didn't know before, like, different animal, maybe animal, because I say this too, and I said this once before. I had it happen when I was approximately 16 or so. He told me he was in a car wreck. Oh, he was in a car wreck. Oh no. Um, that would be scary, right? At 16, I would definitely be scared. But like I was saying, I said this before, like even these cryptids, right? These spirits, if especially if it's a spirit and people see it and it's like, oh my God, it's a cryptid, but it's a spirit. I believe that maybe these were animals that we didn't discover that lived before we did. And if we have animal totems, who's to say that these cryptids are not the animal totems? And but we just don't know what the animal is because they existed before we did, you know? When the dinosaurs, you think really the dinosaurs were the only ones? Maybe that's the only ones we found their bones, but they're finding more and more kind of different fossils and discovering different things. And they might just buried under a whole bunch of stuff find some of these things that we think are like scary spirits to be animals that are spirits that actually lived before. You don't know, right? So yeah, I got a picture with big teeth in a smile. It looks scary, but I said the same thing. Oh, that is a lovely smile. And you feel the joy in the atmosphere. Yeah. Lindsay Merlin, known name in mid Wales. Oh, welcome back, James. Yes, Roberta. Yeah, I feel that way. I feel like some of these spirits and stuff that the people see and go, oh, it's a spirit, but it's of this, it's a cryptid, is really maybe just something that just lived prior to when we did and wasn't discovered because we weren't around, right? So we don't know this animal. And that's what that is, you know, because if you believe that we evolved, especially these people who believe that we evolved from like a gorilla, do you think we went from gorilla to person in 1 second? There must have been in betweens where we looked crazy, right? So that might be those. Like we don't know. Um, unless we ask, of course. So I don't assume anything's bad um until somebody tells me no, that's bad. Like and like either my spirit guides or like somebody who's dealt with one like Danny be like, no, that thing's bad. You know, don't, if you see that, don't go near it. Like, okay. You know, or if somebody tells you that's around, go the other way, you know. um you know, but yeah, not too many things scare me anymore. And they probably should, because some things like you know, sometimes I'll get some of these pictures and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm sorry that happened to you. Like they'll have a picture with them and like what looks like a devil of sorts, you know. But then I'm thinking the devil is how most of society depicts the worst being in the world, right? So I don't know if they're depicting that to me to say like look, I was murdered by this. They feel their murderer is the devil, right? But could be, you know, just a person. So I can't take it always at face value unless you tell, like, unless I have words to go with the picture. I have to take it as this person was killed by somebody so evil that, like, the devil, you know? um, you know, and then I say, oh my God, I'm so sorry, you know, you had to go through that. But, you know, some a pictures can say 1,000 words, but it's also what you make of it, right? So you can't always, you know, unless like I show it to someone, I'm like, did you see this creature before or whatever? Sometimes, and there's somebody who knows something about it. Like one time I showed Danny that and he's like, why would that person be there? I'm like, oh, you know this lady? Um, And he's like, yeah, maybe they were saying they chased her out of your yard or something, or she was near you and you don't want that person near you. So then I'm like, oh, okay. So if I see it again, I'll ask questions like to the spirit guides, like what's going on? Why is she here? But at face value, I didn't know who she was, right? So I just see the picture and I go, oh, lovely dress or something, right? Until like somebody else says, oh, I know that person or spirit, you know, you go, it's just somebody crossing over, you know. Best footage of Bigfoot and Portal was filmed by Les Shroud. best friends with David Palisades. Missing 411 cases. Wow. And he really filmed it? I can believe it. It's actually funny because I did a short one time, Carl, and I'll never forget reading it. And at first I laughed because I'm like, what? Because you know how society and the government is, you wouldn't think that the government would put out something like this. It was a true thing. In Texas, in one of the parks, one of their big wildlife preserves or something, they posted a sign and they said, so this is the parks, it would be in New York, we call it the Parks Department. I don't know what they call it in Texas, but I think they call it around the same thing, like the Parks Department put out this sign in this preserve and said, if you see Bigfoot, you know, don't bother it, don't yell, don't scream, don't run, don't scare it, you know, just stay still and film it and then come tell us about it. And I was like, what is this, a real post? Like I had to go searching, and yeah, that's what they post in in Texas in the wildlife preserves. Like, oh, if you see, I'm like, did somebody see Bigfoot there? And now they're like, oh, cool, like we have a Bigfoot, so this is how they get everybody to come to the park or something. I'm like, but I just thought it was so funny because in New York they would never post that sign. They're not posting that. They're just saying don't feed the wildlife and all this stuff. Um, don't, and they usually say, yeah, don't feed the wildlife because you don't know what could hurt them. They don't tell you to film Bigfoot. I thought it was hysterical. I was walking along the beach and I got a picture that looked like blood pools, but when I looked down, I realized it was seaweed on the sand. It was Kathy walking with me. Oh, there you go. The army trainees are told when they're out in the forest, don't engage Bigfoot. There you go. Yeah, that I mean some of society is brazen enough to go, no, I don't care if people think I'm crazy. Don't go near Bigfoot. I believe that they're out there. Um and other parts of society is like, no, these you're all crazy, because they haven't seen it yet, you know and just like, technically they have names for all of us kind of people, right? Clairvoyants and mediums and spirit mediums and psychics, and you know they have all these names for us, yet so they made up these names, right? And yet they say none of it exists. So if you have this a name for something, and you can have a definition to go along with the name, this is the name, this is a spirit medium. Spirit medium does this. Well, if that's your name and it has a definition, how can it be fake? You gave it a definition. You gave it a name and a definition. Now, how are you going to turn around and say it doesn't exist? There's a name and a definition. Like, it boggles the mind sometimes. I'm like, you know, who says it doesn't exist? There's a name and there's a definition. If there's a definition to something, that must mean it exists. Just like paranormal. Um, you have spirits, you have all these names for something and what they look like, right? And what they could do. Like, like I can never say the word, I'm sorry. The poker guys, they move things, right? Those are spirits. How do you know that? How do you know that if it doesn't exist? How'd you give it a definition, a name, all this stuff? How? It doesn't exist according to you. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, obviously it exists. Somebody saw it. That's why you gave it a name and a definition. You know. Um. Yeah, and I fed around 14 feral cats, three and a couple of raccoons and birds. Right? Oh, that sounds lovely. The only thing I've seen so far is fairies through Sherry and my balcony door. Well, there you go. Well, if it wasn't true, then the U.S. government wouldn't have spent millions of dollars on it, right? And now they have all these shows and everything, like, and they put them on the Travel Channel. They're not on the Sci-Fi Channel. Like these things, the Ghost Inside My Kids and Ghost Hunters and everything. They're on the Travel Channel. They're not on the Sci-Fi. If they weren't real, they'd be on the Sci-Fi Channel, right? Science fiction. They're not on the Science Fiction Channel, you know? They're on regular channels, you know? So um over 2,400 sightings last year by forest rangers, police, rescues, firefighters, and hunters' families. Carl of the Bigfoot. Oh, amazing. Yeah. I mean, everybody's crazy. 2,400 people all lost their minds when they went into the forest. No, you know. And they, even spirits, I realized because when I would catch them on film and it was just like a plip on the screen, and I'd have to slow it down to even see the spirit because they're so fast. Like, I think it's because the realm they're in just moves faster than us, maybe, you know? Hey, Diane. But they're so fast that in order to really see definition and stuff, I have to slow down the film. So I think that that's why it's so hard sometimes to film it because by the time your mind kind of catches it and you go to film it, they're already gone. Gone. Fast. They're fast, you know? The only reason why I would catch so much stuff, and Danny's like, why do you think you catch all this? I'm like, because I stand there with the camera for 3 hours. They gotta move. They have no choice. Like, oh, fuck, this woman won't leave. I'm just going. You know? I don't know if that's the case, but I was talking their ear off, and probably is what was happening. I was talking to them so much they're like, "No, I'm leaving. This freaking bitch won't shut up." Diane, so good to see you, sis. Yeah, the tree spirits are very fast and they are playful, but you have to be careful with them also. Yes. Well, and it depends what kind of tree spirits. Like, is it a wood elemental? Is it an earth elemental? Is it a nature fairy? Is it, like there's so many of them. So you gotta know which ones. Like a lot of spirits go with the trees, right? Because I've seen earth elementals show themselves as trees or branches and stuff. But the wood elemental will also, he doesn't look like a tree, like, but the tree god. Yes. Mhm. The protector tree god. But he always hangs out in trees or in nature, right? So you'll see him in trees. So, um, yeah, you can't be, there are also forest shepherds. They're like the ants, but in spirit form. Wow. And TV shows do loads of fake and debunking real cases. Yes. Well, that happens too. Like it was funny, like the Ghost Hunters. When I was younger, the original Ghost Hunters show, when it came on, I loved that show, right? I received a message from Spirit that my dad had died. It was true. The next day we found out, and I also received a message that my two grandmothers were going to pass, and they both did 2 months apart. Aw, yeah, your spirit guide's trying to like warn you so you're not like shocked, or maybe you wouldn't have checked on your father as fast or something. That happens definitely. Um, you know. Um, and yeah, well, so I was saying I loved the Ghost Hunters. But because it was a TV show, they couldn't find something every time, and a lot of times they would just not, they'd be like, "Oh, we reviewed the evidence and it's really all like normal sounds or whatever." But to make the show interesting, they'd have to like, you know, make it fluffy for TV, and then people are like, "Oh, they would fake stuff." I'm like, "Well, technically, it's a show, so but if you knew anything about the paranormal, hey, Christy, how are you, sweetheart? If you knew anything about the paranormal, you knew what was real and what was like you could kind of tell. There was one episode that I will never forget, and I would watch it religiously, right? But nothing ever stuck out in my mind like that episode. So to me, that was like a real episode. I wasn't even doing paranormal back then. When the Ghost Hunters first came out, was a long time ago. I don't know, what was I, a teenager, maybe early 20s or something. No, maybe even earlier. I might have been, in my late teens. But so there was this episode where they went to this house and they caught this EVP. And the EVP, so they were asking questions to the woman who was said to haunt that place, and whose bed was still in the room, and she used to, that was her bedroom or whatever. And they were asking questions, and they had the recorder. It wasn't even like a EVP box. They had a recorder, and they were recording the session, right? And so they didn't hear it with their ears. When they played it back, they asked her, "So and so, are you here?" I can't remember her name. Sorry, sweetheart. They said, "Are you here?" And she answered, "I'm here. Where are you?" So it's like she could hear them but couldn't see them because she was in her own realm at her own time. Um, and they didn't hear anything with their ears. It was only on the recording. And they asked another question and she had answered. And that to me was the one that stuck out most in my mind. Like, damn, like that lady is there. Maybe she's stuck. Maybe, she needed help, Um, yeah, but that was the one to me that was like so the ones that would, make you feel something, yourself were real. The back then it was entertainment because they couldn't have a real TV show where you would go and 20 times, right? 20 shows, and only 5 of them you'd get something because nobody would watch the show. And that's just the reality of show business. So, but you can't discredit everything they did because some things were good, Other things, yeah, noises or stuff that you knew somebody else could make. There wasn't like, there was just some things, yeah, okay, maybe they're not, but that's just show business. So I don't shit on anybody, because everybody's got to make a living somehow. Now if you and some of them, they really helped those families, right? There was a few that they had kids and they really needed the help, right? um so they made those families feel comfortable. So that in itself is something that, you can't, you have to give it to them. They can also pretend to be someone else to get close to you. Oh, spirits? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, funny enough, most of them, even if they're bad, they'll tell you. Well, I had a bad angel. He called himself a bad angel. He said he was a bad angel and he attacked me. Was not fooling. I had another vengeful spirit, right? I caught him saying to me, "Next." he and all the spirits were warning me that he was there for like 2 weeks. He's gonna attack you, he's gonna grab you, he's gonna get your feet. And he did do just all those things. I just wasn't listening because I was so new at it at the time, you know? But usually they freaking tell you. They're not afraid to tell you, I'm a badass motherfucker. I'm gonna get you. They normally don't pretend to be something they're not. Um, they might tell you some stories. The tricksters will. They're few and far in between, though. I find the tricksters, but um, yeah. But usually they tell you, I'm gonna get you. Yesterday, before you left the chat, did you ask Christina if you ever had acupuncture? Oh, I have never had acupuncture. No. And I always wanted to, like, to stop smoking, try the acupuncture, because a lot of people said it worked. It's not really acupuncture. They give you like a little ping, like, I don't know what it is, like electrical ping or something. Um, and to stop smoking. And I was like, oh, I always wanted to try that. But the insurance doesn't cover that kind of stuff. So even if I had insurance, I would have to pay for it. And I never had the money to do these things. But you know, I would try something like that. I'm not afraid of needles or anything. So I don't like all the blood, but acupuncture doesn't come with blood, so I'd be fine. The group of people I was with years ago, we saw them. They stay hidden, but appeared after it rained. I will put my hand on. Oh, that's interesting, James. No, I believe it. After I saw that thing, I believe. Most teams need a week on a site to catch, not a great amount. Right, exactly. Right, if you're there 2 days filming in someone's house, like, it's hard. Maybe you won't get anything. Maybe the spirit doesn't want to talk to you. Maybe they don't like you. Maybe they're shy, right? Um, Diane, no, I never did say. Oh, good night, Roberta. Much love to you. Thank you so much for coming. It's hot again. Ciao. It did rain, and my friend actually told me, like, we sat outside in the backyard when it drizzled because we had the big umbrella and we were fine. We were dry in our seat there. But she said to me, it's so humid. It's so humid. I go, no. You know, most spirits try to scare most folks that are angry or negative. Yeah, no, well, I was never angry or negative to any of them, even when I first started, you know. Like I said, I'd be annoying. I keep asking them questions, the same questions over and over. Sometimes I'd be annoying, but I just wanted to, not evidence only for YouTube, but for yourself, you know, to know that you're not crazy. So sometimes I would drive them crazy so that I would know I wasn't crazy. Um, but some spirits are just fucked up, like people are fucked up. Sometimes you do nothing to warrant, you know, you're walking down the street and they decide to stab you and take your purse. It's just because they're fucked up. It's not because you did anything, it's because they're fucked up. And spirits are like that too because they're human, you know, just because they don't have a body, they were still human spirits, you know. Okay, it's getting bad here. I'm gonna hop off. Oh, lovely seeing you, James. Much love to you and stay safe. Stay safe. James is having like a hurricane in Florida, so where he is. So stay safe. Maybe that's why we haven't heard from Scott. I wonder if his area is getting hit with some storms. Um, have a great night, James. I had a spirit say I don't work here after I asked him to try the K2. I don't work. That too, yeah. They're like, what the fuck? Like, you know. But you learn with right as you're doing it. Like I learned like to word things differently. Like I learned to say like, oh hey, I'm gonna put the K2 out. If you want, you could touch it. Like it's not a big deal. Just so I know that you're here and I'm not crazy, like, you know. And then I talk up a storm and whatever. And then when they got comfortable with me or they wanted me to shut the fuck up and hit the K2 and I, right? I just learned I learned to say it a little different instead of, "Oh, touch the K2 for me, please." No, like, what the fuck do I gotta do that for? I don't work in the circus, right? Like, this is not a circus act. I'm a person. Would you go to a person and be like, "Here, touch this light?" Like, So sometimes you gotta say it like you'd want somebody to talk to you. And I just learned just to talk to them like I talk to my spirit guides, like I'll be like, "Are you sick of hearing me talk already?" Like, and sometimes the K2 will go off. I'm like, "Find it." You know, like, it's just like they're sitting here and we're just bullshitting. I don't, I don't do the crazy things I used to do when I was doing investigations or trying to prove paranormal, because now I know it exists, right? I understand more, and so now I know I'm not crazy, and I don't care all the people who think I am, and so I just talk to them like they hear. Sometimes my son will come out and I'm talking to the kiddos, and he's just like he goes in the bathroom or something. The other day I was like, "Oh, you're making popcorn?" I go, "Can you give a kernel to put one in each of those four little bowls, one kernel?" And he just looks at me. I'm like, "No, for the kiddos, for the deities. What about your spirit guides? They have to eat." So he went and he put a kernel in their dishes. But it is what it is. We're all learning as we go. That's right, Christy. But you know, you asked if she takes St. John's Wort. Oh yes, that's right. That's what he asked me, and I said no, I haven't. But I did take the evening primrose yesterday because my hands were doing those crazy things. I took it. It's not doing it. The evening primrose is really, really good. Like I'm telling you, that's the stenographer told me, because all they do all day is this. A stenographer told me, take this, the best thing for like your joints. Um, and I said, well, how do you know it's your joints and not your muscles? Go take it and find out. Like, it's natural, and it is. The evening primrose vitamin from you can get it at any vitamin store, CVS, and the vitamin section, evening primrose. And and yeah, my hands feel fine today. They were killing me yesterday. I could barely open the book because they were like all crazy, and now they're fine. So I really do like my evening primrose. I got the liquid and the pill. Of what? St. John's used to be lodged through to have a demon. It was. Oh, you mean a? I'm sorry, Carl. I didn't understand that one. Oh, it was. There you go. There was more. Was an angry, crazy woman stuck there for 140 years. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it wasn't a demon. It was a crazy human woman who was just had it. She would probably turn and twist it. The twisted human spirits are, some people think, worse than demons. Because demons are not bothering you because they have a job and they're going to do their job, right? You're most likely not in their job unless you bother them or summon them or do something crazy. That they're not there for you. They're there doing something else, and they couldn't give a fuck what you were doing. Um, so you don't run into demons much, right? It's mostly humans or these twisted humans, which you will run into, that have been here so long they lost their human side and now they're just crazy like monster spirits. Like, so yeah, those twisted humans, they say they're worse because there's more of them and you can't control them. They're because they have no, like, they lost their human side. I don't know how to say it. You know what I'm saying? You guys know what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm just gonna turn off the camera and have a cigarette. So I'm going to make one. So you're gonna hear some noise. Anyway, well, we'll chitty chat while I'm doing that. Uh, yeah. The human spirits are the worst of it. Ah, there you were, Scott. I was saying I was wondering because James, even though he's on like the other side of Florida from you, he's getting like a hurricane. So I was like, oh, I wonder if Scott's getting weather. That's why we didn't see him. So I'm glad you checked in. So we know you're okay. I'm just making a smoke. But this is a good one to watch back, sweetheart, because we had Danny on. Wind, rain, but we're okay here. Good. We had Danny on and we talked about Druids. And he told us Bigfoot stories. It was cool. So that would be one to watch. This might be one to watch back when you have some time. It was interesting. Oh, damn lighter. It needs some fluid. Most folks would not know how to summon ninth ring of 13 demons. It's hard to learn and say old Roman Latin. There you go, Carl. So that's good. thank, thank the heavens for something, huh? I was figuring out the new knee brace. Oh, well, I hope it works for you when you get it figured out. I hope it's something that's better, and you can use, and it doesn't give you so much pain and itchies under there. Danny came on live? Yes, he did. He came on live. I played the video about the Druids. He came on, talked a little about the Druids and what they believe and stuff like that. And then he told his Bigfoot stories, and then he had to skedaddle. But yeah, it was good. You surprised, Diane? Sometimes I can convince him, and it was short notice because poor um, Mary's son went into the hospital um, with AFib last night, so she couldn't make it. So at the last minute today, actually like 25 minutes before the live stream started, I'm like, Danny, can you come up with me after the video and talk about it? He was like, okay. Um, it seems it has an ice pack on the inside. Oh, that's nice. I will freeze the ice pack for 2 hours as per instructions tomorrow. Oh, there you go. Yeah, and then you can put the ice pack in there. Nice. That should be nice, Scott. I wonder, I had that thing somewhere. I should dig it out and look for it. I had one of those things that you put on your neck and it like vibrates and heats up from Aldi's. It wasn't an expensive one, but you plug it in and it would help. I could use that for my neck again. I'm sure it's in the closet. Now that we're talking about this. Now that we're talking about this. Well, yeah. So next week, if Thor contacts me, next week I'll do Celtic. This, if not, we'll do maybe the Sharmans. I'm not sure. The works of Honorable John D. Magic Master for Elizabeth the First of England, 1570s. Wow. But I had an appointment today, but stupid workers' comp didn't tell me what to bring to the appointment. Oh, no. You had to bring paperwork to the appointment? It wasn't something that they could print out, like they could email you and the doctor's office could have printed it out and put it. Morons. Oh, so you rescheduled it. Yeah. At least you know now to call beforehand, maybe. Yes? Nope. Maybe call beforehand, a few hours beforehand and ask do you need anything before I come to this appointment? So, you can have it. Because, nobody wants to do anything extra. So the workers' comp wasn't gonna, unless you ask, they're not gonna tell. That's how it goes. But yeah. Carl, so you're in the UK. What do you follow any certain kind of belief system? Old Norse, I think, right? I might want to do that too, definitely. My son likes that. He knows a lot about it. He's always saying, Old Norse said this and that. I was like, oh. He's like, in Norse mythology, they believe this. I was like, oh. So, he does know a bit about it too, from just research, though. If my son finds something interesting, he'll research it and he will talk about it. He retains it. He knows it, right? But if he don't want to learn it, you know, wild horses stepping on him couldn't make him read it, or remember any of it. That's why he wasn't a big school person. He hated, their criteria. But I watched something about it on the History Channel. Oh, there you go, Scott. Yeah, it's interesting. Definitely. Like I said, my son really got into it when he started reading about it. Thought it was very interesting. But besides, when it was in some of the things that I was reading on other stuff, I didn't really go into all of it. So that might be something I want to research too. And then, anything I research, I do a video for you guys. Because, yeah, why not? I do want to put in, I do have, let me go back there. Uh-huh. So I could subscribe to Roberta. Okay. So make sure I subscribe to everybody who come by because I'm not rude like that. I'm not rude like that. I'm subscribed to Christy already. I just want to make sure. Got all the things going on here. Okay. Because sometimes, I forget myself. Math in school bored me to death, but science and history kept my attention. There you go. I always loved history. Always. And I liked science, earth science, but when it came up to when it came up to like biology, that's when science lost me. That's when science lost me. I'm like, you know, all the bones and everything. I was like, no, this is too much for me. Oh, and then we went into chemistry. That wasn't one of my favorite either. I didn't mind the labs, but I just hated all the. I think the teacher wasn't good, and that's a whole other thing too. Because math, funny enough, I had two different math teachers in high school. One was Mr. Shapiro, and one was Miss James. When Miss James taught the math, I understood it. It was fine. I could learn it. When Mr. Shapiro taught it, I didn't know what the hell he was talking about, and they were teaching the same math, right? So I went to the guidance counselor, and I'm like, no, I can't do math with him. You have to put me in Miss James class. And they're like, you can't have Miss James class this time around because you have honors classes, and Mr. Shapiro's teaching the honors class this time around. And I'm like, well, that should be illegal because he's not a good math teacher. I like him. There's nothing wrong with him as a person. I said, he's just not a good math teacher. And she just looked at me funny and she's like, well, I can't do anything about that, you know? So I'm like, fine. I'm like, tell me when Miss James does the same kind of math I am, does she do it in one of my free periods? And they're like, oh, your lunch period. And I'm like, fine. And I gave up my lunch period and I sat in Miss James' class. And then when I was in Mr. Shapiro's class, I didn't listen to anything because I knew I'd get confused. And that's the only way I passed his class is because I learned from her. You know, it just depends sometimes on the teacher too. Like, you know, that's what happened. Um, where, you know, some people are just better than at teaching things than others, you know. Um, Let me go to the playlist. I'm pretty sure I put it in Sinister Sunday. I wanted to put my little video about the cryptid I saw. It's a little video, and I tell the story, and it's cool. And I actually got the AI to make a picture pretty close, although they made it short, and he was way longer. It kind of did. It did the basics of the other stuff, what it looked like. So I was like, okay, good. Um, I thought I did it on a Sinister Sunday, but I could be lying. The history of the witches. No, I guess not. So, story time maybe? I have way over 1,000 video guys that I can't even. Woodshop. I did like woodshop. Um, but I had a fishing class where they taught us how to make a fishing pole and then they took us fishing. That was one of my favorite classes. Yeah, it wasn't exactly woodworking because I don't think they really they put me in sewing really because I guess they thought women should sew and men should do the woodworking. But they did let me do the fishing class, which was nice. PC went crazy. I'm a bit Norse, Celtic, Welsh, Irish, craft, and Native American stuff. Oh, wow, that's fantastic, Carl. That is fantastic. Yeah, you know, like Danny said, you got to take a little bit of everything. What makes sense to you, right? And that's what you believe, and that's your spiritual path. Um, here it is. I found it. See, I put it in the stories. Copy link. Um, we'll get there, guys. We'll get there. Okay. If anybody didn't see it and wanna watch it later, that is the link for my cryptid story. So I tell the whole story about the cryptid and everything, and how it looked, and that's how I saw it, where it was, all this stuff. Super, super interesting. But anyway, I think I did it in cartoon form. I try to do, make it interesting. I try to make it interesting for you guys. But I have so many videos, sometimes it's hard to find. I don't even know. Do they tell me how many videos I have? 1,300 videos. Yeah, so 1,300 videos, guys. So sometimes, yeah, I know it's hard to go back, right? But that's why I have so many playlists, because I figure easier to find if it's in a playlist that makes sense. So I have the spiritual learning in one playlist. Um, some crossovers. The shorts are all in their own little. Now they put. You don't even need the short one because they have a short button now. They didn't used to. The Saving the World Saturdays, which is all my spiritual. It was my spiritual vision. I had a 5 hour like spiritual awakening vision, and I did it all in story cartoon form, and it's like I don't know how many episodes, 60 or something. But it was 3 seasons of that. Like I did that. I have meditation music, the cooking, the crafting, the Sinister Sundays where we investigate thing every Sunday. I go and do virtual investigations of a place. And I show you pictures of the place, and I tell you all the experiences, what people experience there. Um, so yeah, that's all fun stuff. I have channel music. Other spooky stuff is just like random stuff that I put about. I don't know. I went to a fair, I I opened this box, came from someone. Um, there was a disembodied voice on my recorder. That's all just like random fun stuff. Um, Haunted objects. That's when I used to really be into the haunted dolls. But I now everything. If I pick up an item that's haunted, I'm just like, come home with us. Can you attach this to like my keychain? I'll bring you home and I'll cross you over, because it was getting so expensive to buy all these haunted objects. I wanted to help them, but I was like, look, I don't have any money to buy all these objects. Like it was getting like crazy. But so I have a haunted objects. Of course, we have our paranormal exploration, which is all the spirit stuff that I caught. Cemeteries, when I visit cemeteries. Um, so yeah, I have a lot of different playlists. So whatever you want to see, it's there somewhere. Going on a journey with James the Fam. I did go on a journey with James the Fam. That's in paranormal exploration, I'm Sora. Plus, I did like a greatest hits, so of course I added that in, like my greatest catches and stuff. That was a crazy thing when I went with James the Fam and Chelsea Luna. I won't forget that day because I wore a tourmaline. I wore a little tourmaline bottle, and normally you shouldn't wear black on your neck, right? Because it says it messes with your heart chakra. But I put it there because I figured I would need extra protection, right? So I put on my black tourmaline bottle on my necklace. So it was a bottle, and inside had a whole bunch of black tourmaline chips. And so when I was leaving, my boyfriend at the time said to me, my ex said, "Oh, yeah, I like your necklace." I go, "Oh, yeah, well, I'm going on this spiritual thing. I need protection." I went, and my ex could see auras. He could see auras, right? So I left. These crazy things happened. I was hearing all sorts of disembodied voices, and I even said to James at one point, I'm like, "Hey, did you hear that woman talking?" And they just looked at me funny. And then I remember I went into his live stream after, like a week after he was doing a live. He's like, "Hey, I watched back the video and I heard the lady's voice you were talking about." I'm like, there was a woman talking. I wasn't lying, but you could hear her. Nobody was there. That was crazy. But when I got home from that investigation with them, my my ex said to me, "Holy shit, who's in your necklace?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, who's in my necklace?" He's like, "In the bottle. You picked up a spirit. There's a spirit in that bottle in your necklace." So I guess he was trying to attach to me. That was the thing that ran out of the bushes, and he got stuck in my necklace. So there you go. I crossed him over, but once I learned how to cross over spirits. But yeah, it was crazy. I found out my last name, Altman, means tie. Oh, it has ties to the German culture. That's interesting. Um, I have been play the investigation on June's journey and listening. There you go. Christina, did you turn into a collector of everything? Not everything, just haunted anything that had a spirit in it, right? That had an attachment. And at that point, I'm sure I could still do it because I did do it when I went to Indiana. But basically, if I pick something up and it has a spirit attachment, I can feel the energy and I know it has an attachment. So I would go to when I would go to the thrift store. I used to love this thrift store in Long Island. I don't know. He used to get everything from like storage places. He would buy these storage places and then he'd sell the stuff in his thrift store, right? Um, and so, it's funny because I would go there and like, oh, this is a new doll, right? And I'd touch it and I'd walk and then I'd go back and I'm like, oh, really? One time I touched a mirror and I just so wanted that mirror. I knew I had to get that mirror. Like I knew that there was someone in that mirror and that I had to take the mirror. And I couldn't afford it at the time because what I wanted was to buy a camera for my son. So when we went to the investigation, he can film too because he was going through something at the time and I wanted to show him that it was spirit animals he was seeing and hearing and that he wasn't going crazy. He was like 11 at the time or something. So I wanted to get an extra camera, and I took him to the thrift store. Because I was buying the camera, I was like, look, and she was like, it's been here so long. It already had like the black veins going through it. It was an old mirror. She's like, I'll knock $10 off of it. So it was 30, but she put it down to 20. And so I was like, oh, I can't leave it. So I took it, right? But yeah, but I was collect. I would take anything home that was haunted. I watched the meetup in New York. Yeah, the meetup. Did you see the investigation part? Because that's on my paranormal investigation. Jonathan and I did an actual investigation with James. I really want to go back there too, because that place was crazy, and I just wonder if I did not cross over all the spirits there. I'll have to ask them. But we went to what's that park? Battery Park. We went to Battery Park and we did an investigation. Jonathan and I and James and Chelsea, we did a investigation together. Oh man, it was crazy. The the thrift store begged me to take a doll. It was freaking it was freaking people out. Oh gosh. I don't think I seen that. Cam. Yeah, that it was crazy. The disembodied voices, the meetup. In the meetup though, it was funny. We took a meetup picture. I believe Stephanie Ferrante's father took the picture of all the people who came for the meetup, right? And in that picture was an army soldier standing, like you could tell he had a uniform on and like a hat. I don't know if he was a soldier or he could have been a pilot of sorts, but he didn't have goggles anywhere. So I was thinking he's some kind of soldier standing in the picture, spirit. Like just behind somebody, like I'm like, who's that? And when I scrolled in closer to like, who's that? It was a spirit. And I was like, holy crap. Oh, good night, Scott. Much love to you. So yeah, even the meetup was a little nutty, but the investigation was crazy. Yeah. It was. So, yeah, I have that picture somewhere. Um, it might be in with the video, maybe. I probably put it in with the video. If I had to guess, it's in with the investigation at the end, because I probably added some of the get together. Because I didn't go live, I just videoed. Um, uh, let's see. I think it was near Christmas, so it might. If I put Christmas, but what year was that? Somebody tell me! Jesus Lord. It was a while ago. Gosh, was it 20? It was right after the pandemic, 2021. What do you think, Kim? Do you remember? Do you? Yes. Oh no, it was 2019. Holy crap, that was a long time ago. 2019. Holy crow. I found the pictures. Let me find that one. Let me find that picture of when the whole group took a picture. Jeez Louise, where is it? It's not this group picture, although there is somebody here too. Interesting. Only in the group pictures. He must be like following one of the group. Somebody in the group. Let me find a picture. Oh, it's this group picture. Yes? Damn, we took a lot of group pictures. Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, I don't know if you could see it, but I'd share it. So I put an arrow like, who's this? I don't know if you could see, but that guy standing behind there, I don't know, it looks like to me like he has a hat on, but it's definitely somebody standing there who wasn't in the group. My friend has a 3-foot dark wooden African man with old nail hammers in it. Loads of seashells. Wow! That sounds fabulous. I like that. That item sounds fabulous. It's the one where it goes by. Yes, that is. That is exactly. 2019. Thank you, Krista. Krista knows. Because you met up with him, right? There you go. Maybe I could share this picture on my YouTube, can I? Oh, you know what, Kim? I could share it to you in chat and Kim. All right, I'm gonna send it to you so that I don't lose where it is. I'm gonna send it to you in Messenger, Kim, and then I could probably download it so it's now instead of 2019 that I have to go back to it. Do you see who I'm talking about? And Lou Rock. I didn't meet Lou Rock. He didn't come to the New York one. Yeah. Do I have Facebook? Of course. I have Messenger. I think actually on my channel, if you do I have the links? Yeah. If you go to my channel links, my Facebook is there. And then you can message me on Messenger. I do. Oh, they signed your hoodie? That was cool. I had the video, so I was so happy I didn't ask them to sign anything. Because I'm like, I always have the video, right? So I didn't ask them to sign anything. And I had all their gear on and my gear. It was so funny because they're like, "Oh, I like your sweatshirt," like I said, Christina and Son. And then when I pulled it up, it was like their shirt underneath because it was so cold. It was freezing. Yeah, December. It was freezing. You could tell by what we were wearing. It was freaking cold. Jonathan was the only one not cold, but everybody else was cold. Um, I'll see if I could put it on my community page so you guys could see the picture. There we go. Throwback from 2019 when Jonathan and I did an investigation with James the Fan. This is the meetup after. Who's in the picture? There we go. So there, I'll post it on the community page and you guys can see what I'm talking about with this guy. I saw it right away, but I don't know. Other people didn't notice it, and it's definitely not part of the tree. Oh, great. Send me a message. Yeah. But anyway, and I did. So there you go. You guys could see it. It's like, it was crazy to me. That whole time. I was like, whoa. And that's really when did I start the channel? I might have been doing it since 2017. So I wasn't that far into my paranormal career, But yeah, nutty. I missed the last bus home because I wanted to meet them. I was gonna walk home, but James insisted and paid for me home in an Uber. Oh, that was lovely. That was lovely. Yeah, Jonathan and I took the train. I was living in Long Island at the time. So from Manhattan, we took the Long Island Railroad home. That's the day we got on the ghost train too. Come to think of it. I couldn't remember when, and I wish I would have filmed that, guys. But it was just like, when you just already was reeling from everything. I missed the last bus home because I wanted to meet them. Yeah. Oh, I don't know why it blinked like I didn't read that. We got on the train to go home. It was late already. And then, and it's like a good 2-hour trip. And they were doing some track work supposedly. So they made us get off and get back on. I don't know. I had pointed to the other one, Kim. Because that one was way in my face. Oh no, the yellow glow is just the lights behind her hair. That's Stephanie Ferrante. That's actually a person. That's Stephanie Ferrante. She has a channel. She does like she's like a photographer. Oops, it was the 11th of December. There you go. So if you see who I was pointing to, actually, Yo Boy Scott is the one next to Luna, Chelsea Luna, and the puppy, and then there's the girl right behind the girl and the other boy. You'll see the guy that I'm talking about. I seen the guy you were talking about. Okay, yeah. No, that's Stephanie Ferrante. Yeah, that's an actual person. The glow behind our hair, I think it was just the way the lights were. But Yeah, I don't. Pretty sure, unless she's an angel in disguise. But yeah. But that's so they made us get off. I was talking about the train. They made us get off the train, um, and wait to get on this other train, right? So we waited at Linden, and the train doesn't stop a lot at Linden because it's like one of those places you don't really want to visit. So it usually skips over that spot. So it stopped there. Another train came. Jonathan and I got on, and as soon as we got on the train, I'm like, kind of train is this? It's so old, you know? And Jonathan's like, yeah, it is old. It was wood inside, guys, wood. Like it had wood paneling and everything. And it had the glow in the dark exit signs, you know, the stickers, like old, because they don't use that shit anymore. They have signs. The Long Island Railroad have signs that scroll that tell you, had none of that. Had glow in the dark exit signs. It was all wood. It had red padded chairs. Old. Okay, when the train conductor came up to us finally, he was wearing not even the regular uniform that they wear. So I'm like, oh, after he left, I go, oh, you know, they must be doing that because they would do those. They do these things in New York, the nostalgia trains and stuff. But usually you have, you know about it. They sell tickets so you could go on these trains or whatever. Like, but I was just like, they must have been having this nostalgia thing. So, hey, we got lucky, right? Um, so I didn't think anything of it. As we're going into Amityville Station, all the lights in the train turns off. Only the freaking glowy exit sign sticker is glowing. And we were stuck for a little while. And then the train pulls into Amityville. And they're like, oh, this is the last stop. And I'm like, what the frick is going on? And they're like, oh, train trouble or whatever, right? We get off the train. We get on another train, a normal train. When I got home, I started searching to see the nostalgia train. Oh, I'm sorry that she had to do that, Kim. And so finally I called the MTA and I'm like, hey, did you have, like, I got on this train. I explained to them what it looked like and everything. I said, at Linden, and it went to Amityville and stopped, and I got on another train because they said that they were having train trouble. I said, was that a special train? It was beautiful. I wanted to look it up. And they're like, no, we haven't had a guy call. Yeah, he's talking in my ear. He's someone who wants to cross over. I don't know where he came from. And I had told him before, like when I put pause when I was making the coffee, like after the live stream, we're gonna eat something and then we're gonna do a crossover. Um, so yeah, he came from, I'm assuming, somebody who came by the live stream because he wasn't here before the live stream. I don't think so anyway. So somebody brought him. But anyway, so they told me, ma'am, that train hasn't been, the last time that train ever ran on the Long Island Railroad track was sometime in the 80s. They said, and those trains are not in service, not for nostalgia, not for anything. They're not in service. There's none of them anymore. And I said, no, it's possible. I was on it. And she's like, that's impossible. And I was like, okay, thanks, bye, click. Like, I was like, oh no. Weirdest fucking thing ever. Yeah. Krista, what'd you send me? Ah, look at you. Look how cute. Ah, everybody looks happy. I love that picture. So that's probably who it is, Carl. Been talking in my ear for about almost all the live stream. But when I'm doing the live stream, unless like they have a specific message, which usually my spirit guides will then intervene if I don't really understand him. Be like, hey, tell this one, this, Other than that, they're normally here to cross over, which I'm assuming is the deal with him. Assuming is the deal with Mr. What did you say his name was? Alfonso? Okay. Just want to cross over. He's just yapping. He's yapping to everybody. Hanging out. Probably like, can you finish already so we could eat, so we could cross over? But yeah. Yeah, but it was crazy. Yeah, he just don't stop. Yes. But there's a lot of spirits for him to talk to here too. So and they'll stand behind me to see what you guys are saying, and they'll all be talking, and my ears are going nuts. And an elemental came by before too, because all of a sudden I got hot really fast, and I was like, "Pshoom!" A fire element, and I was like, "Pshoom!" The fan had to go on. Then I turned it down after, because I'm like, "Oh, okay." They either stepped away from me or they left. Actually, that might be someone who dropped him off. Maybe he came from an elemental, like somebody's spirit guide. Which might be the case. Maybe he didn't come from one of you guys. Maybe somebody dropped him off. Someone drop him off? Okay. That happens too sometimes. They drop everybody at my house. Yeah, go here. Go there. She's doing a crossover. I do them 4 days a week, so and a lot of spirit guides, people that I deal with who got readings or stuff, their spirit guides will be like dropping them off. And then like like people have friends, right? So then like one of my protector's friends, like he'll send people to me, and I'm like, well, who's this? And they're like, oh, it's friends with this one. I'm like, oh, the protector's friend. Yeah, okay, good. All right, yeah, okay. Give them over. I'll cross them over. Like, it's word of mouth here, And now the word is out, and forget it. Like the guardian in the cemetery sends people here, forget it. So I don't care, because I cross. I do 4 times a week. Whoever's here to cross, I cross them. I don't care. I don't discriminate, no how. I even cross over animals, which I didn't know. All of a sudden, I was having like cats and stuff. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, can we cross over animals? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh. I thought like animals automatically crossed over, but obviously some of them stay too, to like stay with their owners or whatever, and they don't cross. And then, you know. Something wonderful happened to me. I couldn't afford a dentist follow-up, and I asked if I could get a voucher. They said no, so I canceled the appointment. And then later in the day, I got sent a voucher, valid for 3 months. I said, thank you. There you go. I get hot when Astro comes around or when Freddie wants to bug me. Yeah, Astro, Mary's, Jacoby, yeah, there's a few of them that will come by, and you're like, oh, some of my protector's friends. He's a wood elemental, right? So he knows fire elementals, so he'll send them, and I'm like, phew, that he'll send them by, and then so that's all right. It's okay, but sometimes like I'm like, whoa. I'm not expecting it. And then here I'm like, oh, I'm going through am I having, then sometimes I'll turn around and ask Sarah, am I having hot flashes or is someone here? Because I don't know what's going on. Am I having a hot flash or did someone come in, I don't want to be rude to anybody that comes in, but sometimes like I'm like, maybe it's a hot flash. Who knows? When I lived a few miles away was a railroad line back in 1960s. A big crash. Used to hear a train whistle, a train every few months. Oh wow! And well, it's not there anymore. It was in the 60s. Yeah, I've had a few things with trains. Funny enough, like I was outside to do a crossover one night, and I don't know, I was talking to them or I was playing music. It was right before the crossover or as we were doing the crossover. And I look up and down on the corner of my block, there's a train. It's the Amtrak uses it, but mostly it's for cargo, right? And so I hear a train. So I'm like, oh, the train's coming. And I look up and there's all this green glowy light. And I'm like, that's a weird color light for the train to have. Wouldn't that annoy the other train drivers going back and forth? So it was a weird glowy light. I had never seen it before. So I was waiting for the train to come in or pass by or whatever, because it doesn't really stop there unless it's a track switch or something like that. Or it's resting. It doesn't stay there. It goes on its merry way. It's not a stop there on my corner. And the train never came. It was just the green glowy light and the noise. And I was like, holy cow, what's going on there? I leave an offering of nut seeds. Ah! Oh, was that from the reading, Evie, where I told you to leave out nuts and stuff? Was it right around that time? I'm just curious. Because remember you had that reading where it said to leave out the dried stuff? I just curious. Because I remember you you had a reading and that's what they told me. Tell her to leave out, like, and they were specific too, not only an offering, but like the dried, like raisins and nuts and seeds and stuff. So I was just curious. I do remember. I do remember that was your reading. Like my friend told me, well, I'm not spiritual. I don't have time to work on the spirituality. And I'm like, but you pray. And she goes, oh yeah, I pray. She goes, I pray to God. And I said, okay, God's busy, right? This is what I tell her, God's busy, right? And she says to me, I can't do all this stuff that you do. I said, I didn't say to do anything that I do. I don't want you doing what I do, then I won't have a job, right? That's what I told her. I said, no. I said, why don't you, there's a certain archangel for every kind of thing, or that, I said, why don't you get together with this archangel, um, and do his prayer, and he helps with the kind of thing you're going through. I go, you believe in angels, right? I know you don't believe in the other stuff, or you can't think about it, because she gets nervous. Then she's worried about everything. So she's like, oh no, I believe in angels. Like, okay, so you know. And she goes, no, that's something I could do. So it's funny because you can have tons of different beliefs, right? But like leaving an offering or saying a certain prayer, or like it you do that to God, to Buddha, let's say, to a deity, to a fae people. And when some people go to me, oh, like my sister was like, oh yeah, you give them food? Like, I'm like, yeah. She's like, you could barely eat, you're giving them food? I'm like, it's not a lot. She goes, you could give. I go, it's a little bit, but kind of didn't understand. and I'm like yeah, and some people don't understand the offerings, but I'm like, you do it all. I said, did you ever go to a cemetery, right, and leave flowers on somebody's grave? What do you think that is? It's an offering to that spirit of respect. You're showing that person respect by leaving them flowers. The same thing when you leave an offering to the Fae, to, you know, my mother comes by, okay, I have a coffee, it's the same thing. Same thing as leaving flowers on someone's grave, it's just a sign of respect when you offer something. So when I said to her, oh, do the prayer, and leave out something, and she goes, oh, they're gonna think I'm crazy. And I'm like, I go, just give them a little, I go, you have peppermint oil, right? And she's like, yeah, I have peppermint oil. I go, leave it on your nightstand and just say it's for you. Your mother's not going to know why the hell you have the little peppermint oil on your nightstand, right? And she's like, oh, that's true. And some people have that thing too. Well, people are going to think I'm crazy. I don't give a I don't give a shit, but other people care, So I'm like, no, how's she going to know why you have the peppermint oil on your nightstand? It's aromatherapy, tell her. Your mother's not going to realize, It's aromatherapy. But yeah, I just got a call. Oh, Evie, I asked you a question, by the way. I was wondering why you didn't answer it, but now I know. I asked, remember when you got the reading about the nuts, and I told you, no, it's something like when you leave the offering, leave nuts and seeds. That was your reading, I remember. Was it around that time where you got the voucher? Was it after that time? That's what I was asking. Like, did you leave the nuts and seeds, and then like the next day or the day after is the time that you got this voucher, and now you always leave them? I'm just curious. That was my question for you, Evie. See, I'm talking to people and they're not even here. I'm talking to myself. I leave it for my spirit guide ancestors. Oh, animal totem Kathy Pro. Oh, okay, yeah. You're like me. You just feed them. Feed everybody. You don't care who comes and eats. Yeah, that's how I am. Although I have different bowls. I have a bowl for the deities. I have a bowl for my protector. He's the bomb. And then I have a bowl for the kiddos and regular visiting spirits that are people spirits. And then I have a little bowl for elemental. Because, like, and that's another thing. Nobody, like, I think my sister said to me, because, I have my little spread out. Like, why can't they all eat from the same bowl? And kind of like now, like at first I didn't realize either. So it's a valid question. Like, why can't everybody eat from the same bowl? And before I realized that like they wouldn't, um, I would do the same thing. So I explained to her, I go, oh, I got the voucher yesterday, but I think it is because I don't ask for anything. But yesterday I asked for the voucher and then came. So I said, thank you. Yeah, that's lovely, Evie. Um, the any idea who or what the energy is next to the fridge or the freezer? Oh, over there. That's probably Aiden. Aiden, is that you? If so, wave to Carl. He can see you. This way. It's backwards on the phone. Do you have any dolls? No, I haven't done, like, now I just tell them if I see them at the place, the thrift store or whatever, because I can't afford it right now to take home all these dolls. I just say to them, no, come with us, bring them. And because you can leave your item for a little bit, or you could jump onto something else. So they bring them and I cross them. I don't need the actual item anymore, because I was just like, what? And then I was putting them in storage. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm gonna have way too much stuff. I don't need to take the item home with me to cross them over. Like, I can help them without the item. So yeah, we stopped doing that. Yep, keep smiling movement. Yeah. So it must be Aiden. Aiden loves that spot. A lot of people see him there. Tina used to always see him there. I go, oh, that's Aiden. He's tall, but Aiden's 14, I'm pretty sure. I keep telling everybody too, it's Aiden who's 14, and I'm like, oh yeah, Jack, he's 14, but I think Jack is like 20, if I remember. I have like 80 of them, Carl. I'm surprised you don't see more. Um, just kiddos in transition, like I say, that, either they're my spirit guides, they're going to stay forever because I love them too much, or they're just hanging out for a while before they're ready to cross, or they're waiting for one of maybe their parents or someone to go before they go. So I have tons here. So I'm surprised you don't see them all. Actually, though, I haven't felt any kiddos climb up on me, so maybe they're playing in the other room. They're trying to stay low so you don't see them. He likes the clothes. Yeah, he's always. That's where I have all my clothes. Yeah, hanging because I don't have any room for any besides that little closet, and I want to dig in the closet all the time. So like the summer clothes are there now, but now I gotta change to winter clothes. But I've been seeing Jerry in the corner of my eye. I'm so happy about that. That's nice. Yeah, sometimes, I mean, I catch a glimpse sometimes and I go, oh, that was weird. Oh, that was weird. But I don't really see CC unless they ping me in their third eye. They ping me in my third eye, then they send me a picture and then I could see them. But with my eyes, besides like you like those fast things out of the corner of your eyes, I don't see them with my eyes. Which is why I was able to, like, when my daughter sent the state here, he's like, do you see things I don't? I'm like, no. And I could say it totally like I wasn't lying because I don't see anything that he doesn't. Because he pointed to his eyes, so I was like, do I see? No. Do I think something different than you do? Yes. But nobody thinks alike, so that's okay. But I don't see anything you don't see. Besides the fact that I don't know what the fuck he sees. I don't know. He could see monsters everywhere. He didn't say. He likes hats and glasses. Oh, there you go. I have tons of sunglasses hanging up over there. He must love that spot. I also have been feeling touching on my arm and wrist. I think it's Kathy. Oh, yeah. Like, I feel the little ones sometimes, like, I know when they're going to climb up on my lap, and I'm like, oh, what you doing, kiddo? So a lot of times when I'm playing the games, Evie, I think they want to see what I'm playing. But most of the time, they hang out with each other because there's so many of them, right? But but once in a while, I'll feel them. And I'll know, like, at first, sometimes I'll go, like, Jack. I'm surprised you don't see Jack. Jack is always tapping on my head, right? Like, if you, like, just so I know he's there. I'm like, hey, Jack, how you doing, love? He taps on my head. Like, I feel like, boop. And I know that it's him. It's not like a phantom tap on your head, like you wouldn't have these things. Like, I don't know. But yeah. I get a lot of tapping or call my name. Yeah. Well, I had someone say my name. Like, I went to the cemetery where my mother's buried, and this guy cursed me out in Greek on the spirit box, and I was like, I'm just here to talk to my uncle, my great uncle. I said, I'm sorry I'm bothering you. I said, do you want to cross over? I do that, right? So him and his wife came to my house to cross over. After he cursed me out in Greek, he told me to go to hell in Greek. Because I had the spirit box on in the cemetery. Anyway. Anywho, so that night, I was just about to fall asleep and I heard him. He said, my name in my ear as I was just like drifting off to dreamland, like Christina. I was like, what the I was like, listen, tomorrow I am not doing a crossover now. you know. Then somebody wanted to wake me up. I don't know if I was sleeping too long or what the hell the story was. They wanted to eat. I don't know. I don't know what was going on. I was sleeping. And maybe they thought something was going to happen in the dream. I don't know. I was sleeping and I hear my sister, loud as day, standing over me saying, Christina. And I'm like, what, Steph? And then I'm like, what the fuck? I thought my son let her in. There was nobody was there. I was like, what the fuck? Like, it was my sister, though. It was her voice. So I didn't understand. I guess they mimicked her so I could get up. Like, I guess if they mimic, I don't know, if they just used their own voice, I wouldn't have, I don't know. Like, it was weird. Like, I'm like, why use my sister's voice? I don't know. So I got up and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm getting up now because that was weird. I'm up. Okay. Or maybe one of them sounds like my sister and I just didn't know it because I've never heard their voice, Could be quite possible, but to me, it was my sister's voice. I swore she was standing over me, and I'm like, what? And then I'm like, holy shit. My sister's not here. Okay. You know, these things happen when you're working with spirits, I guess. um, but yeah. But even when you heard what he was saying, the gentleman, I get like twisting in my ear, and unless I really focus, I won't. I don't. It's just white noise to me. So until I'm ready to talk to them, I used to hear someone call my name when I was worked at Walmart third shift. It was creepy because I was the only one in that side of the store at the time. Yeah. Oh, goodbye, Evie. Thank you for coming by. Much love to you. Enjoy your day. I used to get that at Aldi's. In Aldi's, we had a back stock room, but not somebody wouldn't call my name. Somebody would walk back and forth there all the time. In the and it was funny because there was no windows in the back room. So because there was no windows and it was just pure light, you've been in stock rooms, right? You shouldn't be able to see shadows walking back and forth because there's no windows, there's nothing reflecting the light. It's just a lit up room, right? I can walk back and forth and you're not going to see my shadow, so you shouldn't see any other shadow, right? All the time. And I would always turn around like, oh, you again? Why are you bothering me? But then I was like, no, I think because it did the same kind of thing, I go, no, it must be residual, But there was a lot of spirits there for some reason. But the supermarket I find is a hot spot for spirits. Uh, Not only residual ones, but regular ones, because then they can find people to go home with. Maybe they like what they're buying and they go, yeah, go with this one because we'll eat with them. Used to have a shadow cat. It used to purr in my ear and used to rub up against my leg. Oh, how cute! My kiddos brought home a cat from BJ's. They named it Tiggs, a little gray cat with black stripes. Um, and then ever since they brought Tiggs home, that's when I started getting these pictures of cats. And I'm like, oh, all these cats and mice and cats with mice and all that. I go, and it was always during like the crossovers. And I'm like, can we cross over animals? And they're like, of course. And I'm like, oh, the cute animals come. So I always thought they were just showing me cute pictures like of animals. And meanwhile, they were like showing me like, oh, hello, this who came by to cross over, like the animals. And I was like, and I was always wondering why I got these animal pictures. And I'm just like, oh, look how nice you drew me this beautiful horse. No, it was the horse. But I didn't realize it because I thought I only crossed over human spirits, right? Like I didn't think, like I just thought animals automatically go. Like, I don't know why I thought that. One of those stupid human things that you think like, oh, they just automatically cross like newborn babies, they just go automatically. You know, somebody goes and takes them, but no. They want to stay with their owners, they're gonna stay just like humans. They have that right? So I was like, oh, so dumb that I was. Probably from that stupid thing, like all dogs go to heaven. Like, yeah, I know. The animals all go right up to heaven, back. No, it's just like us. So I'm sure though they don't do bad things, so they probably all do go to heaven. But I didn't realize that they didn't cross. Funny building was a job center built on a very old graveyard. Night staff never stayed long in that job. Oh, poor things. Why would you build and that's another thing. Like, and I really hate, like, I got this really eerie one time I'll never forget. Somebody tapped my arm. I never forget. Do you not want me to tell? This story is okay to tell. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't because now it left my head. Oh, I got this really creepy EVP. No, at the thing. I'm gonna tell the story. I seen the spirit of an Indian running through when I worked in lawn and garden, working night shift with my manager putting out Christmas stuff. I asked her if she's seen it and did. Oh, she saw it too? Yeah. Well, some of them you can't deny. If they're in form, you're going to see it. Long ago, you used to play games on your lives. Yes! Long ago. I used to play the games. Um, but now we do the spiritual learning and I do the tarot card. Back then, I would do the readings once in a while, but because everybody loves them, I do them every Thursday now. I guess if I was really bored one day and said I'm gonna go live, I'd play games because what else would I do? Because I would have had nothing scheduled. Um, but yeah, but that during 2020, when I was off, like from the pandemic, I was off from work for a while and I didn't have anything to do but go live. So I would play games. I would do also. What the heck am I gonna do live? um, can't do paranormal all the time live because just like in the shows, you wouldn't get something paranormal happening all the time. It'd be boring. She didn't want to say anything to scare me. There you go. Well, because you saw it too, you asked first. Like, I saw that. I'm glad I wasn't the only one, you know. But but yeah. So I was now I totally lost the story. Right? Oh, we went to this like little park in Long Island, and it was right across the street from the oldest building in that part of Long Island in Bayshore, and it was a building that George Washington actually stayed in that building, right? Um, so very historical. I think it was 1693. It was built, and then across the way, which it was all probably, it was there was that where that was built. They owned so much property. They had a racetrack and all sorts of stuff. That property where the park is across the street was probably theirs too, I'm thinking. But anyway, um so I went to the park to look, walk through it, and I played my recorder, my EVPs and whatever. I did a whole little investigation there, and I got the creepiest EVP that said they unearthed our people, and I was like, oh shit, this used to be. They dug up the. They dug up the bodies and put them somewhere else. That's like horrific, especially when it's like certain um from a long time ago, they had like really beliefs about touching sacred ground and you know taking people out of their burial spots and everything. This guy was pissed. I was like, that's one of the creepiest EVPs I ever heard. you know but yeah, they get upset about that stuff, Carl. So I was assuming that's why it was all those people were there, like bothering the night crew, because like, hey, where the frick did you put our bodies, or did you just leave them here? Some places, they just pull out the headstones. Like I went to Pilgrim State, where they have the Nutty House, and there used to be a really old cemetery there from before Pilgrim State was there, and they took out the headstones. And then not only that, I think they buried people there from Pilgrim State too after, but there's no headstones. It's just a graveyard. And when I did EVPs there, and I asked spirit rods. I did the spirit rods there. Because there was a lot of people around. I didn't want to put on the spirit box. I might have put it on for a little while, but I did the spirit rods. And I asked how many how many people were there. Was there over 100, over 1,000? What I think they said 10,000 people were buried there. Was it 10,000? I don't even remember, but it was some crazy number. 10,000. 10,000 people buried in that spot. Not a headstone to be found. And people just walk through there. Like, I'm like, hmm. No wonder everybody pissed off. Just like, you can't do that shit. At least they didn't put anything on top of it, but still. That's why we took home the triplets. The little triplets of Pammy Clyde saw them. I saw the little kids in the pajamas. I'm like, oh yeah. Those little ones, I think they died of smallpox, the poor things. But they were waiting for their mommy. They stayed only a little while. They were waiting for, I think it was their mother to pass on before they crossed over, and then we crossed them. And then that's what I have here. A lot of like, no, because they're safe here. We have a lot of protection. So they stay like until, they want to go. And then some of them will stay with me always because they like me. I don't know. I'm hoping. Because, oh my God, I'd be lonely if I started. And then I'd really be crazy if I started talking to everybody left and I was talking to myself. Although, my love, what? He's really getting talkative now. Is he talking to you, Carl? Exactly. He's maybe like, Carl hears me. I want to talk to him right in your ear, but over you. That could be the case, girl. Are you talking to Carl? UK Derby Jail is 400 years old. A lot of hangs buried in the square where inmates walk. It's a museum and can investigate the place. Oh, that's cool. Well, no, not really. That's too many tortured souls in one place. That's one of those places you virtually investigate. Like, I do the Sinister Sundays. I virtually investigate different places. And sometimes, and one time I was like, oh, I wish I could meet the lady to ask her. Like, because first I asked them, is there really a lady that goes up those stairs all the time? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I want to ask her, like, can she come? And then she ended up talking to me, you know. So, or sometimes they'll just come, like, I don't say anything. I just say the video out and I talk about them and whatever, and then I have talking in my ear, and then I'm like, "Oh, are you from this place?" And then I'll know, like, they'll say, you know, some of them want to cross, some of them just come say hello because they like the place, they go back. Um, yeah. He's ranting in Mexican or Spanish. Oh. Well, Alfonso is definitely a Spanish name. That's probably why, too, I can't understand anything, because I'm like, I know he's talking, but can't understand because I don't speak Spanish. I do not. Here in Erie, a long time ago, there was a cemetery downtown, and they did the same thing. They put a civic center there. Yeah, and so did they take out the bodies, or they just put the civic center over it? Like, a lot of times they say to you, "Oh, you know, we moved the bodies to this nice cemetery or something," right? Because there was only a few bodies here. But um they don't. They just put something over it, right? We went to this place in Brooklyn one time, and I did the EVPs and anything. Nope, left them. What crazy lunatics. Why would you put a building over? Like, would you want somebody to do that to you? Like, it makes no sense to me. It's a community garden in Brooklyn, right? Now, they could have left, like over here, we have a community garden. They left the markers and the graves, and they made the garden next to it, and they left the graves. It's the oldest graveyard, guys, 1733. I brought you guys there. Anyway, they left them. This place said, "Oh, well, they were building something behind it, and they were gonna take over the whole spot, I guess. So they relocated the bodies somewhere better for them." We'll say that, right? But the graveyard was so old, and some of the stones weren't there, that some of the bodies were left there, you know? And I think they said there was still like 100 bodies there, like, or something in the park, because they didn't get all of them because, you know, there was the stones were old. Um, so yeah, but I don't know. Mm-hmm. Alrighty, lovelies. I'm loving chatting with you, but it's 9:45 and I do have to eat, and I will feed Mr. Alfonso too, and anybody else who's crossing over today. I'll feed me, I'll feed them, and then I have to do a crossover. And then I should probably go to sleep or at least edit some videos, because I did some crafting. So I have some crafting videos. Crazy things, yeah, right? Anyway. Because back in the day they used to bury people on their land, right? And then when the house is no more, and you just have this little family cemetery, well, okay, move it, you know. um, but if there was no tombstone there, or there wasn't anything on the tombstone, or it was a rock, that's like, remember when I took you guys right over there? Like, we talked to those nice people. They owned almost all the land, and they said they had pigs and stuff. Danny was on the live stream with me. He was doing the headphones for the EVPs, so he was telling us what they said. And basically they built a building there. It's the projects, basically, in Queens. They built all these projects. They definitely they didn't move the bodies. They didn't tell anybody that there's bodies buried in their front yard. They just have a rock there, one big rock, where I guess the grandfather's grave would have been. Just so The city knows there's a cemetery there. I don't fucking know. It's weird. No plaque that says, hey, these 5 people are buried here, 10 people, this family owns half of the this family back in the day owned all of this, they were even worried. There's like, where's the water? Because the water's still there. And I'm like, yeah, come see the water. And we walked with them a little to see the water. But like, poor things. They were just like, yeah, no. They took whatever markers, put one stone, didn't put a little plaque or nothing, and just, built the projects there. I was like, what the fuck? Back in 1909, a very old Queen of England was seen, and UK MP kissed her, paid the doorman to the church. She was 500 years old. He kissed her. 500 years old. That's crazy. I've asked the spirits, like, is it like, can you be immortal? And they're like, no. But I'm thinking because the body doesn't last, of course, the body does not last. That's just sad. Yeah, the body doesn't last. So, um, yeah, Kim, that was funny. I showed them a video because I said, did any of your pigs paint? And he's like, what the hell do you mean? Did they paint? They ate and they rolled around in mud. And then he was like, what the fuck are they talking about? Because he had the headphones on. So he's just saying what they're saying. And I'm like, no, look, pigs paint. And I showed them a little video. And they're like, oh my God, they do paint. That was so funny. Those spirits were so cute. But yeah, they were like, what the hell is going on, They didn't even know if the water was there. They just stayed there. And I'm like, no, come walk to the water. Not far, but it's like, it's daunting and it's frightful, right? You think, okay, I have my little resting place. You see all this stuff going on, and then you're like, don't move because we're gonna get lost, or so we won't be able to find our, like, where our tombstones or where our graves are, our bodies. Like, some spirits like to stay with their bodies. I don't know why, but they do. Not me. I'm gonna go traveling, but like, they were just like, is the water still there? I was like, oh my God, these poor ones. He said he had kissed a Queen of England for his birthday. She was like a mummy. 500, I'd say she was like a mummy. Because he raised you about painting piggies. Yeah, he razzed me about painting piggies. Yep. That was so funny. But yeah, I showed them that pigs can paint. Oh boy. But yeah, it's very sad. I yeah, the body doesn't last, but the spirit, I guess, if you do the right thing, because anything can be depleted, I guess, right? Um, so if you do the right thing, I guess your energy, your spirit, right, can last forever. It's just not your body. Not your body. Sorry, I forgot the other Z. That's okay. Razzed. I said, I figured it out after. All right, guys. I'm going to say goodnight. Always be wary of a pig farmer can eat a body in 10 minutes. Oh, the pigs. Yeah. Actually, I saw something like that where the woman didn't I don't know. She was pissed at her husband for something. And so she pushed him into I think it was in with the pigs. And he hit his head and they ate him, you know? And, she's looking for the husband, looking for the husband. She calls the police. My husband's missing. And, no, they found bits in with the, in with the piggies. But somehow they figured out she did it. I don't know how, accident. He fell, hit his head, right? Nope. They were like, no, you did it. Crazy. Good night, Kelly. Have a great weekend. I love your little picture. Now I have to change my thing. I have to grab the picture. I can't forget. All right, loves. I'm going to play the outro for you guys. And I'm going to say goodnight. I'm going to see you definitely Wednesday. God only knows, unless I see you before. Well, I might see you before on someone else's channel. But I don't think I will be doing a live stream before then, but you never know. Maybe something exciting will come up, and I will.
Remember, please discard all candy wrappers and popcorn containers in the nearest trash receptacle. Thank you. We are so glad you came. Okay, bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye. Is everyone gone? Huh? Good. Oh my gosh, my cheeks are killing me. I can't keep smiling like this anymore. I'm exhausted.